GG! The Mouthful Podcast is brought to you by GoodGame.rock, the most welcoming gaming community on Facebook. Visit us at www.goodgame.rocks.
Making pancakes. Making pancakes.
But you know, poor body.
Making pancakes.
Oh, shit, it's recording. All right. Okay, go. Start. Go.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and that is David, aka Dream Twister, and this is the real episode 270 something that I have now forgotten. GG's Mouthful Podcast.
GG! That's how we have to start. We hit the ground running. We don't prep. We don't do anything. No, we have nothing. I don't even have my phone with me. So
Good,
I'll
good.
just do
You
the,
have no
the news
idea what
from
you've been
memory.
doing. Okay.
Exactly. I have no idea what I've been doing. I'm just gonna do it. I mean, I always do that part from memory. Let's be real. So
Yeah. So there's no digital list anywhere.
no,
for sure.
exactly. No.
Makes perfect sense.
I make a list of what I'm gonna do over the weekend, over the weekday, and then I do them and I ignore the list. I don't want to remember because then I'll be ashamed.
Oh. So aside from that, sir, how has your week been? How have you been, sir? How is everything in Camp Santos?
Camp Santa, that sounds like a horror movie. I've been doing good, bro.
More like the location for one, but sure.
Location. Well, the location of a murder mystery.
Oh, damn.
Ooh.
Whoa.
No, man. Everything's crap. Everything's shit. It's 9:15 p.m. We haven't started recording, and I could be playing Dark Souls instead of doing this shit. But we're just gonna have to, I guess. So
I guess I will have to sacrifice 3 hours out of my life
yeah, if we're
away
lucky,
from Dark Souls.
3 hours. if we're blessed.
Yeah, that is for sure. Sir. We ride that line sometimes.
For the people. We do it for the people. So
That we do.
yes, sir.
Guys, if this is your first time listening, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Please, first, if you can, go to goodgame.rocks, join the conversation there. It takes you right to our Facebook group, which has a current post with lots of information about a new game that we'll talk about later. And, of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone.
Hit the bell icon, all that good stuff that YouTubers always pimp out in the middle of their videos.
I feel it's one of those things where I'm like, I get the reason. Like I don't like doing it, and I also don't like when I hear. But at the same time, I'm like, guys. That's the only way you're going to continue this good, wonderful.
That's the way we grow.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I see it in the. I do see it in videos, and I'm just like, dude, can you just please get to the content?
Can you just like, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon? It lets you know, and then they proceed to describe what the bell does. It's like, I fucking know what the bell does. That's why I don't have it active, because
I'm well aware why I have it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then then they go. Let me know what you think about sound out in the comments below, and if you think this should happen. And I'm thinking, like, come on, guy, you're just looking for engagement boost on YouTube. You're not really gonna take time to read any of the comments. You already have 10,000 subscribers or more. I feel like at the point where you have 10,000 subscribers or more, you're not reading comments. You're already thinking like, I'll just wait for my YouTube plaque to arrive at the
yeah. But as a viewer, I can definitely say it can be one of those things, especially when you're limited in time or you're obsessed with time, such as myself. Very obsessed with time, and I only have, say, 15 minutes to do something, and you're taking 2 minutes to tell me about this, and it could be the most ridiculous video in the world. Top 10, dating sims on Steam, and I'm like, yes. Why are you keeping this from me? Stop with the Dell notifications. I need to know what the top 10 best ones are.
I know. Click forward, double tap. Every time they go into their spiel, they just double tap. This video is sponsored by...
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I think that's kind of human nature, sir. I mean, if you really, really think about it.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's like in general, because I'm sure some people don't mind. I don't like to be advertised. I don't like to be advertised on
I get
anything.
The purpose of it, and I get it's obviously the why
it's a revenue. It's a way to make money, and it makes perfect sense. I'm not justifying it like advertisement evil, bad. I mean, because let's face it, most of the if not, all of the websites that you visit, that you enjoy the contents for free, you're not paying anything for them, or the social media that we use on a daily, all that shit is it's free. Well, we're actually paying for it, but we're paying for it in other ways. But one of those other ways is advertising, getting our eyeballs, basically. Harvesting our eyes, our eyeballs.
You say eyes, I say mine, but sure.
I say mine, exactly, exactly.
Mine is what they're harvesting. The human cerebral bore is what Facebook is.
In Facebook, you're not the consumer. You are the product.
Yeah, you are the consumed.
You are the consumed, exactly. We're going to harvest your data for hell and back.
Pretty much.
And it has made me, it has become bad, because there are a lot of websites that I realize I enjoy their content, and I want to start supporting properly. Like, I just because I don't like to be advertised in general, I tend to run I run a house-wide network advertisement blocker. So I get that doesn't mean that I don't get any ad, but it minimizes them substantially when I'm online. And
I know I've come to your house and suddenly none of my shit works. Because it says you can't use this right now because
all the shit that is all the shit that is fueled by advertisements.
It won't work. Realize how empty the world is.
I mean, some websites look more beautiful without. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people to know what websites I block advertisements. All of them basically, but. Because of that, if there's a particular site that I appreciate the content, or a particular content creator that I appreciate what they do, I'm starting now to do the Patreons. I know you're big on that, on supporting the creatives minds out there, and the people that bring you like the entertainment. It's stuff that you're enjoying. Mm-hmm. So like I just recently did the one for Gamers Nexus. I'm constantly getting entertained and informed and educated by the content of Gamers Nexus. So I hit up the Patreon. Shout out to Gamers Nexus.
Nice.
And we don't have a Patreon and none of that stuff, because we're not at that level yet. Maybe someday. But right now, all what we ask is that you like, subscribe,
and
share the podcast.
That's all. You don't even have to worry about the bell.
You don't have to worry. Oh, fuck the bell.
Yeah.
Don't ring the bell.
Nobody likes the bell anyway.
Exactly. Fuck
nobody likes the bell.
Well, this is Taco Bell. And then
that's still kind of questionable.
A lot of people like Taco Bell. You might not, but people do. I'm not defending Taco Bell. I'm just
I
saying.
cannot support said statement.
You're like fuck all bells.
Yeah, Taco Bell. God. Anyway, guys, what we normally do is first we go into what we have been up to, move on into various news items, and then of course we finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's
This week
hot
on topic.
sir, I feel completely unprepared. I'm just
Something
something about
progression.
progression. Completely unprepared because we took off running.
No, we just took off. And that's the
yeah,
we had to do something different. And if you notice, it hasn't deviated too much from the formula. It's not like we're suddenly like completely lost on like, oh my god,
I mean, for sure. I mean, we know it's about progression.
we know it's about progression, exactly. Yeah,
Good game. Good. Well, no, yeah, good game progression. What makes good game progression? I'll find the name, but that's something close to, I'm sure, what it was.
It's okay. You know what? I promise you, it'll be the title card of the podcast.
Yeah, Mad Dolphin gets the title.
Oh shit, that's what I'm titling it.
Actually, that's exactly what it is. What is good game progression? Yeah. So good good game progression. Obviously, it's one of those things about games that no one really thinks about, you know what I mean, until maybe the end. Or if you run into bad progression, then you're like, what the fuck? Why do I not feel like I'm making any progress? You know what I mean? That's usually about the only time you actually notice it. So good game progression. What is it about? What makes it good? And why it's important? And so that is the
there you go.
Topic.
Nailed it.
Hashtag nailed it. That's the hot
Yes, sir.
topic. But tune in later onto the show to hear about that. But first, let's start with what we
Or skip
always
forward.
start
We
with.
don't give a.
Or skip ahead. Yeah. Skip over the bell. That's fine.
There you
Sir,
go. Yes, sir.
have you been up to, sir?
Oh man.
Oh boy. I
Do
hope you
I
wrote this
have-
shit down somewhere. God.
No, remember, I don't have my phone with me. So, talk about feeling completely lost, huh?
Yeah.
But I be curses and blessings upon you, sir, for getting me back on track.
You're
You're welcome. I don't even remember what was the last game that I was. Oh yeah, I was playing freaking Judgment of all things because I was starting to get bored, and I think I spoke up last week how I just started playing Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And I realized that, man, this game is really fucking good. This is talk about a game where, I mean, depending on the point of view, I see it as having a great progression, and we'll talk about that later on. But it was feeling so good that it just reminded me of, man, I never went back and finish Dark Souls 1, not because I was getting overwhelmed with the difficulty, as difficult as the game is, but because that game started to suck around the area where you hit the name of
Blighttown.
Blighttown, exactly. And, back in the day it was Blighttown. Then later on they released the PC version. I was excited about the PC version because I was like, well, I'm gonna throw the whole power of whatever graphic card I have to Blighttown, and we're gonna see now who's the no way, it's a completely shit port of the game. So, well, actually, to be fair, it was not a shit port. It completely ran. It was just, it had the same limitations as the console version, which I know what you're gonna say, and yes, it's fine. It runs as it meant to run on console, but I'm playing on PC.
No.
So.
In this particular case, I would jump on board with you and say, the PC should be able to, because having that a 1-to-1 port is definitely a failure because the console version wasn't running well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if the console version is running in single digit frames through Blighttown, Yeah, that's bad. So you would assume or rather I say just the way you were assuming, hey, I got
Mm.
all the frames because I have all the juice within this
I have
video
all the
card. I
frames.
have all the
I
frames.
own all the frames.
You know,
I got them packed in my pocket.
yeah,
I keep a few in a Ziploc bag just in case you never know when you're gonna need some frames.
exactly. Little did you know that it didn't matter. You know what I mean?
It
That shit
didn't
still ran
matter.
exactly or close to what it ran. So
The same
that's a
resolution and
failure.
everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a failure.
yeah.
I'm on I'm on the court where if it runs extremely well on console and it gets ported over and it runs exactly the same, no extra bells and whistles, I still think
Mhm.
that's a fine port because it's
Mhm.
the same game coming over and it was already fine.
Right.
And to have the ability to go up to 120, 21 by 9 and all that's great. And yeah, I guess it should be expected if you're going to PC, but you don't have it at the same time. I'm like, well, it's still a port. That's
Yeah.
that's almost the
It's still
definition
the
of what
game. It's not
you know?
incomplete because
Yeah.
no, I hear you. It's like at one point, and you get to the PC elitist mindset,
Yeah.
and you're gonna expect that. It's not gonna feel like a good job if they don't give you like 30,000 options to move all
The
sorts of
expectation has
graphical
been set,
interface and
so,
all that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I left it. I left it, and then it just became this forgotten thing. Like Dark Souls 2 came out, and I bought it on PC, and I played it for a little bit, but it wasn't feeling the same, and I was still missing. The original Dark Souls experience. So I said, okay, fuck it, And then they announced the remasters, and by that time, I was already thinking like I'm probably too old for this games, and or maybe I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it much, and they were offering actually the game at half off if you owned already the PC version of Dark Souls, Prepare to Die edition or whatever was the name of it.
Special one,
Yeah. Now the remaster, they will give you the remaster for half the price. Which, by the way, I realized or that I just learned that it expires sometimes next month is when that option expires, and you won't have the option of buying it 50% off. You'll have to pay full price. So the remaster, I didn't care to check that it was a very decent port. It runs beautifully. It's 21. It's 21 by 9. It is full frame rate. I was a little concerned because yes, I knew that there were people that modded, or there was a particular mod in specific that was very famous because it kind of fixed the Dark Souls, the previous Dark Souls 1 that came out on PC. Like it unlocked the frame rate, it did a bunch of things, but I guess the game has some physics are dependent upon the frame rate. So it did some things where it will I don't know, like it will mess up with the physics a little bit of the game, and that that game has some wonky physics on sometimes, especially on the ragdolls.
Yeah.
They're kind of funny.
They sometimes attach to you as you're walking by.
Yeah, exactly.
Get off, bro.
Why am I still dragging this rat? All the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this dead rat. So, but I didn't want to play with mods because I also heard of another problem on PC, which was hilarious, which was, hey, you could get banned for just playing that game and having someone else that has a hacked version of the game invade your world. Just for the mere fact of that person invading your world and hitting you, like it messes up the codes, and now it flags you as a cheater also. Kind of like a cheating virus or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Wow.
Yeah. So at that point I was like, nope, forget about it, and then the remaster came with little fanfare and I didn't pay attention. But anyway, all of that to say, I was playing Dark Souls 3 on the PS5, loving it, having a hell of a good time with it. And I was and then I remember about Dark Souls original, and I was like, okay, let me buy it, let me try it. I'm sure I'll get back to it probably after I finish Dark Souls 3, and forget it. I just, the game grabbed me, and I am close to 15 hours in already.
Right, okay.
And yeah, it has been like my nonstop game this week.
Isn't
and
it a
loving
great
it.
feeling to have the hooks of something get you, and you just like have this desire to continue, exploring, and it's just, yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
That series has it.
If I regret something is not playing it around the time that you were playing it, so that we could be, we could be having that, that conversation about it. And oh yeah, I'm definitely, and to be fair, I'm not playing it with like, oh, I don't want no spoilers, I want to find everything on my own. No, because there's certain things I remember, but there's certain things that I completely forgotten, and I don't want to fall into traps and like stupid decisions or anything like that. So I'm doing like you said, every time there's an item that look weird, it's like, oh, what is this? Let me check.
Let me check the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm not going on purpose to see, okay, where should I head next? Because I still like discovering that part on my own. It's something that I even like on Metroidvania games whenever I play them. I like finding out the new area where I need to go on my own and experimenting with, oh, maybe I'm still too weak for this fucking skeletons. Let me not go that route. And
that's funny.
And so I like finding so I'm not specifically looking for what to do next. That's why I have hit a couple of bosses that are, optional. So I might say, oh, they're not necessary for progression, but it's like, well, they still give me souls and they still give me stuff. And even if it's not much, it's still the feeling of accomplishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of defeating, like yesterday it was yesterday. I went back to something asylum, forget what it's called. Undead Asylum, yeah. The first area where you start, and this time, you go down to fight the stray demon, who is kind of a motherfucker to try to get right. And I just got into this position where I'm like, I'm not even gonna look at his health bar. Let me just chill the fuck out and let my hands do the thing. And that's the way. I think I was even talking to someone while I was doing it, but probably my wife. And at one moment, because I was hitting it, but I was taking very little life of it. But at one moment I hit it, it was done. I was like, oh, well, you look at that. Yeah. I actually didn't die. I thought I was going to die in this because I had already ran out of Estus flask and everything. I do want to find out how the hell do I make my Estus flask +2? Because it's +1 right now. I don't remember how to get it to +2, and I'm getting kind of annoyed. Yeah. Another thing.
Fire keeper souls.
Yeah.
That's all.
Another. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
No frustration. We don't need frustration. We can have challenge, but we wouldn't want no frustration.
We don't want frustration. Okay. Well, I only found one Firekeeper soul, and it was easy to reach, and I haven't gotten another one, but maybe I haven't gone that far yet, or I haven't found the secret tchotchke, whatever it is. But that's what's so great about it is. It's a game where it doesn't matter how many times you have walked through the area. There could always be some corner that you haven't explored.
You haven't looked. Yes, dude. The level. This is what I'm trying to say. That the level design of this game is immaculate because it's designed.
It's logical.
It's like he took the design and said, okay, when people come through here, this is how they're going to be facing.
Yeah.
This is where they're going to go. they're not going to see this. You could literally walk by something several times and just once look at in the direction. At one point, you go, "Fuck, where the hell this was at?" You know what I mean? And it's just so, I don't know, dude. It's so well designed, the levels.
Yeah. Did you know that I haven't made myself human form yet? So I have not a shit
Oh
ton.
shit! I rarely did that. I rarely did that. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know that had a big thing to do with the kindling system of especially for areas that I anticipate that I'm gonna go that are probably gonna be a bitch. I probably want to have some extra flasks, so make sure that I kindle the motherfucker. But yeah, man, it is such a good time that I'm having with that, and I don't anticipate dropping it. But I didn't want to just talk about Dark Souls because let's face it, we've been doing that for like 7 or 8 podcasts already. So
it's just like we're stuck in 2008 or
2012. The first one came out 2012. Yeah. Which I saw that the other day. I was like, wow, the game is old. It still doesn't feel old. Another thing I was gonna say real quick that I noticed that I really, really like, that I don't know if it was intentional or it just feels really, really good, is the sounds of the game, specifically the contextual sounds, like when you are arriving to a new location and it shows you the name of the location and it does that, and everything, the weapons sound great. Also, the moment that you hear the bonfires somewhere nearby, whenever you are leveling up your character, whenever you're passing that white screen, smoke to go into usually boss fights. The game has done a very good job with this contextual sound. I really enjoy that.
It's a very minimalist approach.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, because it's minimalist, it pulls you in, especially if you're wearing headsets.
It works.
Which honestly, that's really the only way to play this game. But yeah,
does the game has a very good I've been playing with headset, but I guess I haven't been appreciating a lot if it has, I don't think it has positional audio, or I haven't noticed it hasn't. I
don't, honestly.
I bet Demon's Souls does, though.
I'm sure Demon's Souls does.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember if Dark Souls 3 does, because that's the most recent one I did, and I think it has some positional thing, because I can almost recall sort of hearing motion
where they come from.
And just kind of react.
Because that will definitely help. Yeah, I don't think the first one has, because a couple times more often than not, I've been hit from behind. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh, and I'm playing also with no armor, because I'm noticing, you know what, the armor here, it's really more of an encumbrance than anything. Like my character's a lot more nimble without it. So I just have pair of pants and I'm running around shirtless, and that's the way I hit everything. And yes, when I get hit, I get hit for harder. But let's face it, in that game, when things hit you hard, having 8/10 of your life away versus 9/10 of your life away doesn't really make a difference. So because you're still gonna chug on an Estus flask. So yeah, I'm not caring. At least as of right now, I haven't found any particular armor, which is good.
A lot of the early stuff is very it's just ugly stuff anyway.
It's kind of frustrating because I see people that are already battling monsters. Like sometimes I have to go to YouTube. Okay, let me see how to get rid of this person. I don't have time to figure it out. And and I see them with like armor, and I'm like, is he playing a New Game Plus or
It could be. Most of what I have seen online, these guys are not just New Game Plus, but like New Game Plus plus plus. I mean, they're playing the same thing for a while, and so and you can almost always see it based on that, plus based on those things, and like my issue with some of those videos is there is no real way of spoiling how to beat something.
Right.
And a lot of the folks that do those videos, they have extremely high level characters where it's like, yeah, that works for you,
but
that's not going to work on the first run. So it's like, if you want to see something, you really want to see it from the first run. And even then, it's not really going to assist in any way if you're using a different weapon or using more armors. Because now, if you're using more armor, you're probably going to be shielding more as opposed to rolling more. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of these little nuances where it's very hard to find something that's really going to lead you to it. That's why at some point you really don't have to. You really take the first few times that you take a boss is really just to see their moveset. It's just like I'm going to try to survive as long as possible, and I'm going to fight back, but I'm really just here to study these first couple times. You know what I mean? See what it is you're doing, and remember some of these movesets, and that's how you get past. That's really how you get past.
Yeah.
I mean, those videos, I never found any of them helpful.
I wouldn't go as far, because I remember when I was playing it the first time. Like I remember very well one part that was incredibly frustrating. This fucking monster, I think it was called the Capra Demon or something like that. It was
the
a
Capra
motherfucker.
Demon is a pain in the ass. No. That is a pain in the ass. Doesn't matter what.
Well,
doesn't matter what.
Turns out there is a way to cheese him. I mean, it's not 100%, but I remember beating him with that in a way that if I wouldn't have seen that video, it would have been next to impossible for me to realize, to realize that I could do that, because it was a cheesy cheese.
Hey, all's fair in Dark Souls, sir. You're not using anything that's not available to you, so
that's right. I'm not looking forward. I'm not looking forward to that fight.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, so this was the first time. Okay.
Yeah, the first. The first time.
Dude is a pain in the ass. He's a pain in the ass, and I have seen him on lists of some of the most cheesy bosses.
Well, fair, I would say,
because
probably
the space that you're in is, and, most bosses you walk through the gray cloud and you have this like
space,
few seconds of time. You walk through this cloud, and 9 out of 10 times he's already leaping at you by the time you get through it. So it's
already
like, what the fuck? Yeah. So
and on top of that, he has doggies that attack you also, that you have to kill first.
He does have fucking dogs. Oh
yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah, he does have dogs.
Those
dogs aren't hard, but yeah, they're a pain.
Yeah, but when it's him and 2 dogs, you better get some distance fast so you can deal with the dogs. So that's what I'm saying, is those things would have gotten like incredible frustrating, and I was like, no. And also the first time that I did the Moonlight Butterfly, I had picked like a mage class, or maybe I wasn't going fully mage, but I had picked like a battle mage, I guess, because I still have my weapon. Anyway, the thing is that she likes to like be on the back for a long time before.
Yeah, she's always flying. Yeah.
She's always flying before she like settles down, so you can actually hit her. And in the meantime, while she's flying, she's just throwing shit at you. You're trying to dodge. So, but if you're the wizard, while she's flying, you can just like thunder, cat. Oh, you're down, bitch.
Yeah. I was gonna say I remember that one being that one wasn't very hard, but I was still I was still just like a regular warrior or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was really just dodging and moving and wait, because eventually she fucking she lands like right in front of you. I'm like, well, shit, if it's gonna be this fucking easy, you know?
It's just if you can dodge, if you can dodge, then the fight is easy. But I wasn't dodging at first. I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna dodge the main attack, the big attack that has the three bolts put together, and they go really slow. But the real fast ones that I usually don't have time to dodge, I'm just gonna block them, and that's bad because even if you block them, you still get some life taken out of you.
Yeah, because it's magic. It's not.
So yeah. Anyway, that's it. No more Dark Souls. I already said
all right.
half an hour. No more Dark Souls.
Putting Dark Souls to rest.
For today. Well, obviously, I'm going to have more to say next podcast. I did wanted to try out because Microsoft Flight Simulator was finally released on Xbox. And I don't own an Xbox. But I reinstalled it on PC. Mainly just to confirm that yes, the reinstall is actually a smaller size, and that yes, that game has some improvements. Not only on the performance, but also on the onboarding of the getting you to play that game for the first time. Because it is still, you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. There's a lot of things that you can just have the AI take over and fuck it. If you want to make this game as easy as Pilot Wings, you could do it. Like you can even make it be like, I don't want to crash. So
make sure I land.
Literally, if I crash, just bounce off the floor and just keep flying. You can literally do that. It doesn't matter. But I want to play it in the reels, so I started doing the new tutorial.
So crashing it is. Okay, no, just kidding.
Crashing it, exactly. Learning as I go by hitting the ground. There's no any landing where you can like the game likes to say, any landing where you walk out of, it's a good landing. Yeah. Yes. So I did the new tutorial and I was pleased because I felt like, okay, this is better than the first tutorial where it just gave you a few little things to try out, and okay, now go in and fly a Boeing 747 or whatever. It's like, oh no, this one explains a lot more of like the instruments and the way you should actually handle your plane, and so I was pleased with that. And it was, there's not much. I did a couple of sightseeings on it because I just wanted to see how the game performed, and I was happy to see that they were, the developers were actually improving the performance quite a bit. Like great job. Asobo, yeah. Makers of a play. What's it called?
What do you mean? Which one?
The previous game they did. A play, the one with the girl, the kid, and all the rats.
Oh yeah. A Plague Tale.
Plague Tale. Yes. Yeah. I always found that so weird. It's like, okay, so they're the ones that did this game, and then Flight Simulator. Sure. Talk about a diverse team.
Yeah. They also helped apparently on a few other things, but yeah.
Yeah. Very, very, very talented group of people there at Asobo.
Absolutely.
So. I also wanted to check out this game that was released actually this week, and if we still have the games radar, I will nominate this one to be one to definitely check it out.
Oh, I'm sure it's on there, but that's fine. Yeah,
especially if you have Game Pass. And if you don't, you should get Game Pass. It's called The Ascent.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's on the radar. But go ahead.
Okay, so the Ascent. So I didn't have time to play too much of this because Dark Souls, but I did wanted to try it out. Because when I saw it, I saw reviews that were good. And then I noticed that, oh shit, it's on Game Pass. Let me see, because usually this type of games will say Game Pass, but in reality, it's just a console. And oh shit, no, it's right there. Awesome. Let me open it up and see how it performs and whatnot. So the Ascent it's a solo or co-op action shooter RPG.
Ooh, sounds good.
So it's like a top down perspective,
Oh, it's
kind of like
top down?
Diablo.
Oh, I didn't think it was
Yeah.
top down.
Yeah. We saw this actually at a Xbox event,
Yeah.
maybe 3 last year might have been. You should check out the trailer again or some gameplay so you remember.
that's what-
I
that's
feel
what
like
I'm
you're
doing
gonna
now.
remember.
But I don't recall
yeah.
it being top. Oh, it's isometric view. Okay.
Isometric, yeah. Isometric, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
Um,
Okay, cool.
it's always, but I didn't expect it. It controls like a twin shooter.
Twin stick?
Well, like a twin stick, yeah, like a twin stick shooter. I did not expect that to be the case, and I did not expect that to be an RPG in a sense. Now when I say RPG, I don't mean like it goes like very hardcore into like towns and quests and stuff like that. You do have missions, and you do have stats, and you do have some tech tree progressions and stuff like that, which is very nice and very welcome. The game takes place on a very incredibly cool looking cyberpunk futuristic world of Veles is the planet, which is ran by mega corporations. The biggest one called the Ascent Group. The world is cool because it has it's not just cyberpunk in the sense of, well, it's just humans. It has creatures. You have aliens because it's on a planet. The game is super mega sci-fi. Oh my god, bro! Does he earn that title? A cyberpunk sci-fi at its fucking best. And let me tell you something. This game runs in Unreal Engine 4. The game is an isometric view, which we tend to think, we don't tend to think a lot of when the games look like that. They might have some cool art and whatnot. Dude, the art style and the graphic and the detailing on this game is mind blowing. It looks so freaking good that you'll be shocked to know that this was actually done by a small group, a small indie team from Sweden. They call NeoGiant, and they're composed of like 13 people only. And I'm sure they receive outside resources and help in that. But the core team is only 13 people that worked on this game. And this game like oozes like AAA quality, isometric view, but no holds bars on the graphical side of it. Like things have detail. Everything on the environment has like very good detail to it, which enhances that world. That world is more cyberpunk than cyberpunk, in a very good way.
I'm sure.
I'm sure, a very good way.
This reminds me a lot of Ruiner, which was done by another group, which I really loved.
Yes. I was thinking of that too when I was playing that. I was thinking of, this has a Ruiner vibe, and I want to say that it probably reviews wise is doing just as well, which is to say, not everybody thinks it's a stellar game, but those that do think very highly of it. because of the way because of the presentation. Presentation of this game is like it's fucking top notch. It has a character design, and you're like, really? You're gonna let me design my character? Okay, cool, all right. It has a story. Mostly, I mean, it's gonna be depending on taste, right? I've heard most of the reviews say that the story is like mostly forgettable for the stuff that you're actually doing. I heard some people concerned because like the tone of the game was very like that like the your character, you're playing a character who is pretty much in debt for life to the mega corporations. He's living a life of servitude basically, you know, and because you're living that life, it's like your bosses and supervisors are constantly like, you know, kind of mistreating you, I would say, or not really. Even when you manage to do an excellent job on whatever, they still like scoff and like it doesn't, like it's not a game that gives you good vibes when you beat it. And I'm like, well, look at the world around it. Like, what part of this entire world makes it look like this is a happy place? None of it is. It's meant to be like a very dark, oppressive, shitty place to live, and that's the reason why you're just going out guns blazing. And oh my god, when you go in gun blazing, it feels so good. Now, I haven't played a lot to tell you about the weapons on the later game or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you about the first 3 weapons that I grabbed at the beginning, which one of them was a pistol, where I was like shooting. When I was shooting, I was like, okay, well, this doesn't feel like anything special because it's shooting really slow. It must be because it's my first weapon. Because I was leaving the trigger press whenever I needed to fight, because I was thinking of, well, let me play it like a twin stick shooter. But then no, I realized that you can actually press the trigger constantly, and it'll increase the rate of fire of your gun, as it should, right? Mm-hmm. So now it feels a little different, and you see your character like holding the guns like in different ways depending on his position. Like sometimes he'll be firing gangster style, you know, a gun cocked to the side, like bam, 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 like mauling fools. And the game has style. The game has a really good style and a really cool vibe in that sense. The world itself looks very Blade Runner-ish, extremely Blade Runner-ish, if you match it with the Ruiner, like you said. And
yeah, because the Ruiner also, that's very Blade Runner.
Yeah, exactly. Complaints I've heard is that it could get annoyingly hard in some areas, like I wasn't expecting any part. Like, it didn't feel like the type of game where it's just like, it just gets hardcore for the hardcore crowd. Like, it wasn't feeling like that the little bit that I played. But again, I didn't play enough. On the later stages, it looks like there's some annoying difficulty spikes, and it's also a game where the world seems open, but you probably want to stick to, if you're going to explore a little bit, check the map. If there's something interesting like on your way, go ahead and, go out of your way a little bit to grab it, but then get back to it, because if you could actually walk into areas where you're way underpowered and you get destroyed really easy. But no, that the rest is fantastic. I am having tons of fun. Like, I was concerned. I grabbed it while we waited to start the podcast. While my wife was still working. Of course, we can't record. But I was like, let me jump in real quick and play a little bit more, and let me a little bit faster, because I don't want it to take over. Like, it's not the game that I'm ready to play to take over, because I'm enjoying Dark Souls way too much. I also got a surprise that I really want to jump in immediately.
No.
Well, no, not immediately, not immediately. Sometime when I'm done with the Souls, even though this game is kind of like it kind of has a Souls vibe to it. We spoke about it. I think it was one of our games.
Games
At some
Radar?
point, we must
Yeah.
have talked about
Oh, yeah.
about
It was
Death's
on Games
Door.
Radar for sure. Mhm.
Yeah, Death's Door. I'm very excited. I have to thank my main host here, Mad Dog, for surprising me with that Steam gift, and I love Steam gifts. I got Death's
Dude,
Door. I was
Sony,
like,
get
man,
on board already.
I know.
Come on, man. Actually, no,
They-
not just Sony. Xbox. I don't know if Xbox does.
they have it. You
They
can
do.
you can
So
give
Sony,
yeah.
Nintendo. What the fuck? This is
Let-
money left on the table. You
I
know.
know.
What I mean?
If I
Makes
want
no
to get,
sense.
if I want to get again, I don't want to buy a gift card because then a gift card you can leave your delivery to play something that you actually want to play. And no, I want to give you the game that I want you to play.
Yeah.
And not leave
exactly,
any.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but this one, I'm very happy. I appreciate that. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Anyway, that was the little bit of Ascent. I still don't have there's no final scores or anything like that. It did make a very good impression, let me tell you. And yeah, let's say because I can't score it or anything like that. So it has a good impression. You guys should definitely check it out. It is unfortunately an exclusive or for Xbox and PC. Let's say for now, because it seems like everything is temporary.
Yeah, nothing seems
So-
to be stable anymore. Yeah.
No, exactly. So, but yeah, really cool on that. That's all I've been playing. I did watch a movie,
Oh boy.
and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I watched Werewolves Within. And I'm going to let you talk about that because I'm not gonna. So back to you, Mad Dog.
All right. Well, since we're already there,
I mean, we can discuss it, but yeah, you saw it also.
I
Spoilers,
did.
He
I
saw it
did.
also. That's why
Spoilers, yes.
I'm leaving him to take the reins on this one.
So
I
first
gather
off,
my thoughts.
fun fact for anybody who doesn't know, this is actually a movie based on a video game. Actually, a video game, a VR game, called Werewolves Within, and it's not a like a massive game like that. It's more of a almost like a conversational game. You're kind of figuring out
Yeah,
Who's
almost
the
like
werewolf
who's done it
among
with
you,
friends on VR.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this movie is obviously an adaptation. It's not
Yeah,
meant to mimic
a
the
very
game.
a very loose
Loose
adaptation.
adaptation. Yeah.
You know,
I think they
it's
just wanted to use the title.
yeah.
And the
Although to be
premise.
fair, there's a good amount of conversation at one point about who's I'm a vampire, you're a vampire. So anyway, I don't know. I found some of this kind of enjoyable. And I was like, this is
Right.
stupid, but I guess I'm okay with it.
So, I mean, if you watch the trailer, you already know what
Yeah.
you're getting into. So there's
Absolutely.
no surprise on this one. The surprise that I got was actually, and I ended up learning this on the trailer also, was the fact that this is a Ubisoft joint.
Oh yeah.
It's a movie, but it's a Ubisoft joint. So when you see the titles, when you put the game and when you put the game, you see when
Yeah.
you put the movie and you see the Ubisoft logo, you're like, oh,
Hell,
that's right.
Even my wife, believe it or not, who's not obviously a gamer, she saw that. She goes,
Who the fuck was that?
Wait,
Who the fuck is that?
is this based on a game? I was just like,
She
yes,
recognized it?
honey,
Oh,
you're
God.
coming along nicely. Little by little, I'm gonna convert
I
her
chose
somehow.
to. She didn't notice anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
I didn't say anything. I wasn't gonna say anything either, but she pointed out, and I guess she got a little bit. Because it was more of a, is this based on a game? I was like, well, loosely. Anyway, so the story is very simple. A new, well, not sheriff, ranger, forest ranger, played by Sam Richardson, by going by the name of Finn, comes to a new town as the ranger, and obviously he's getting to know the folks. Something's popping off at some point, and people start missing, and before you know it, it's we're having a sleepover. You know what I mean? With guns. It got really. It's one of those movies where it has those real gory moments that you really just find more funny than anything else. It's like this isn't
Yeah, it's
scary
not.
gory. Yeah, you know what I mean?
No, it's kind of like caricature
Yeah.
gory or anything.
And it also had a couple of those moments where you go, "Ooh, okay, so this is." You didn't have to
Mhm.
do anything, because it also had those hints at political. This person's clearly a right side or leftist. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, why does I have to be here? But at the same time, it was funny while I
Because
was
it's a
there.
stereotype. All the characters there
yeah.
were pretty much a
Oh my
stereotype.
god, bro! It was just like, damn, this is painting with quite the broad brush.
Yeah.
But
Like, I don't. It wasn't trying to be political.
yeah, but
Get it? Because it's Ubisoft.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. The same broad brush that Ubisoft paints their games with, they painted this with. Anyway, I honestly, I liked it. There was not a lot of, but there were moments where characters were a little annoying, but I also know that was their job to be annoying. You know what I mean? So they were
Exactly. It was meant to
delivering
be
on
like
what,
that.
yeah. So I was like, okay, it was cool to see the AT&T girl. For the record, I was just like, okay, all right. I like seeing, she was
AT&T
pretty-
girl.
Yeah.
She has a name, right? She's
Oh,
called
sorry.
AT&T.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Last name girl.
Yeah. Milana
Milana, yeah, there you go.
Weintraub, I think that's pronounced.
I'm not even gonna try. And
All right,
no,
we're just gonna
I'm
go with
sure
Milana,
that was
yeah.
not even close.
What are you talking about? I nailed that. Anyway, I liked it, bro. I liked it. I mean, I'm really gonna just. We're not shooting for the stars here, so it earned a solid 3.0. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I was
There
like,
you go.
this is cool. This is fun. You know what I mean? We watched it, and she enjoyed it too. So I'm like,
Oh yeah, my wife enjoyed it a whole lot also.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. This is a solid 3.0, which in our scale is good. And because that's how I feel. It like from the beginning, you already know kind of what to expect. It's just a matter of, am I gonna get enjoyment of what I've seen so far on this trailer? Or did the trailer annoy me? If the trailer annoyed you from the beginning, then just don't watch it.
Yeah, avoid it.
It's not really gonna. Yeah.
It's not changing from there.
No.
I did like the character Finn, who was played by Sam Richardson. The guy, I think he had some really good dialogue. You know what I mean? Just stuff that he said, I was just like, wow, that's perfect. That was really like. This is a slight spoiler, but it's just really a scene out of nowhere where they're throwing the little machetes, the little axe.
The axe, yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, these are British axe, and they use a different whatever. And I was just like, that shit fucking tickled the hell out of me. I was like, man, nailed it, bro. He's being humorous, and at the same time, that she was probably finding that endearing at the same time. So I was like, that was pretty fucking cool. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have much to say other than solid 3.0. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, honestly, it's because again, there's not much to. It's not even a really long movie or anything like that. It's like an hour and a half.
It's perfect. It's a perfect length. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah,
like so many movies should really realize, guys, you do not need to be this epic to deliver this message.
Right? No.
Yeah. So
no, and it's another one of those like. Obviously they're looking for the big mystery is that there is a werewolf on the loose, hence the name of the movie, and they try to look for how we get rid of it, or or who is it, or like all those
Or is it a
things.
lie? Yeah.
Or is it a lie? Exactly. Yeah, is it a lie? Because there is also there's an additional plot has to do with
The piping, the gas piping,
the gas piping. Yeah, some construction, gas piping. Kind of touch a little bit on the reality of I feel like we had a similar piece of news not too long ago.
Oh yeah, no, it's exactly what it. Yes, that's another. Again, that's not in the game, so clearly, it's like, well, let's also include, something. So basically, a gas line that they wanted to bring through the town, and half the town is like, well, we're gonna get money on it. Of course, the other half, yeah, but all the nature is gonna die because of, and so. Yeah, I get it. And that's something like that happened, I think, in Colorado or something like that.
Yeah.
The pipeline that I think our current POTUS said, fuck that, take that shit out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, so yeah, it does touch on little things like that, but it's a lot of fun. I think I can definitely stand on that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
The other movie, the movies that I've seen, I finally saw the last
multiple ones.
Oh, of course, yeah. I saw the last part of Fear Street, Part 3 of Fear Street, which takes place in 1666. So we're going way back in time. Obviously, to the origins of whatever the hell's going on in these two towns.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I think honestly, it wraps up fairly well. I think it does a decent job of pulling together all the strings and making some sense out of it. It's another series where I'm like, I enjoyed it. 3 movies, 3 different time periods, but the same curse. And honestly, man, I was like, this was another fun one. You know what I'm saying? I think honestly, I could I think pretty much gave all the first 2 a solid 3s, and this was going to just receive the same thing because it delivered exactly what it delivered. It gave you the answer of what was going on. And a solid wrap up, which is really all you can ask for when it comes to these particular stories. The only complaint I would have is it was going back into 1666. So obviously, this is before. This is several hundred years before United States even was a thing, and the only thing is that they were using the same actors and actresses in that town, and I get what they were trying to do. They were just trying to say, well, these sort of represent the descendants.
These are the descendants.
We were seeing now the descendants of these folks and all that. I'm like, okay, but at the same time, I was like,
you don't have to do it that way.
Yeah, if you would have just used something else, I would have felt it a little bit more. But because it was using these same cast, like at this point now, you kind of throw out some of the series, although it's not very serious to begin with. But anyway, solid horror stuff. Definitely recommend. Very fun to get into. Unless you have issues with spirits, then just don't bother.
Call the Ghostbusters at that point.
Go with the Ghostbusters. Another movie I saw was another Netflix joint called The White Tiger. And this one here, I gotta say, I really kind of dug. So it's a story about it takes place in India. It's a story about an Indian driver or someone who wants to become a driver to this sort of a wealthy family, and everything he goes through to essentially become his own entrepreneur essentially. The only issue is he is of a lower caste. So if you don't know what the caste system is in India, when you are of a specific caste, you're never expected to get out of that caste. And so he's of the lower caste, so he's a laborer and stuff like that, and that's just what you are. And it's so freaking eye-opening, bro. It's just like I knew about the Indian caste system, and I understand that that's something they're obviously trying to move away from, but it's something that's been there for over 1,000 years, maybe even more. So it's like, how do you move away from something that's like ingrained into the society? But it's something they have to do because it's just a perfect example. He is a driver for this rich family, and he lives in on the grounds, but he lives in a little room away, and then when they go someplace, like they went to some big city in India. I want to say Mumbai, but maybe it's not Mumbai. But anyway, they went to this big city in India, and the family goes up into the whatever, and the driver has a room downstairs in the garage of the hotel where all the other drivers are at. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's not like we look at it and you just go, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's, no one even bats an eye. You just, that's, everyone there just understands that's the way it works,
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about society that still has arranged marriages, right?
Correct.
Right.
And it's funny, that has moved into different ways and has gotten a little bit modernized, still a little bit crazy, but or probably a lot crazy, but it's kind of moving in a certain direction. But this still is the underlying issue. And dude, it gets to the point where I was like, man, fuck that, dude, come on, But he the character, the guy, what's his name? I'm gonna give him props because I know he's probably gonna start. We're gonna start seeing more of him. His name is that's not his name.
Oh, that's
Adarsh Gurov. He plays the main character Balram.
That's also not his name.
Adarsh Gurov. Yeah. He is spectacular in his portrayal of this, because you can tell that at the very beginning, he is accepting and 100% in on being this servant and being the best of them. And that's all he cares about, because that's what he was raised to be, because that's his caste, and he's not going to go further than that. So he's just going to be the best at it,
Yeah.
And things happen. Obviously, I'm not spoiling it, but things happen. Actually, if you watch the trailer, you'll see, a particular event occurs. We'll call it the inciting incident. And
Inciting incident.
At that point, he starts to question, is my loyalty being abused here? And dude, man, it's one of those films that stick with you afterwards. I'm just like, I almost want to watch it again. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I think I don't want to. It's like I understand.
Sounds like my next movie.
I don't know about that. It's definitely, I don't know, man. It's definitely one of those that just, again, leaves you like, man, I can't even believe how this exists in this time right now. And this is a modern movie. It takes place in current times. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can this even be a thing? And it just is. You know what I mean? Now I'll be on the record saying that, I don't know if this is a great movie that Indian folk would probably enjoy. I feel like this may be something that we maybe not want to, because it just kind of, it's one of those things.
Kind of like a commentary on.
Yeah, it's on a commentary, and never know if they want to have that type of commentary. So I'm coming at this as the freaking unknowing American here. That's just like, my goodness, and it's just. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It has some issues. I'm not saying it's not. It's a perfect film. Definitely, I'm going to give it a rating. I'm just going to give it a 4. It's a great film.
Wow.
But it does have some issues. And I won't go into the issue because it can be spoilery. But overall, I think the acting is spectacular. The way things are portrayed is spectacular. You're in this movie several times. You're gonna go, no, this can't be how it is. This something has to be exaggerated here or something. But it's cool stuff. And it's been on my list since it came out. I think it came out last year, towards the end of last year, maybe the beginning of this year. And that is again called White Tiger.
White Tiger.
Yeah. The last thing I saw, and I just gonna mention, I don't think it's very good. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, which is
wow,
which is a Netflix joint.
What bet did you lose?
Well,
Again.
you know, I wanted to see what Netflix can do, and I love how, by the way, it starts off an original Netflix anime series. I'm like, there's no anime here, bro. This is all fucking CG.
Ah.
So anyway, it is not good, bro. It's about as good a story as pretty much any of the games. You know what I mean? It's about that sensible.
Really?
Yeah. So if you love those stories, man, you're gonna fucking love this shit. But
man, you have low standards.
yeah, and then the best part is I call it a film because it's a length of a film, but it's actually broken up into 4 episodes. But it's like a half an hour each. It's like,
Just
why not
watch the
just
whole-
fucking put it all together? I don't understand what we're doing here, but anyway, it stars Leon Kennedy, or it stars, but it has Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield,
Leon Kennedy ass.
Leon
Kennedy.
Leon Kennedy. It does introduce a few characters. Obviously, a new version of the virus. I mean, there is nothing in this that you're gonna go, yeah, I figured that's what they're gonna do. You know, it's just like it's the same plot point of every fucking game. It's just like, oh my god, what are we doing? I don't understand why you guys can't break away from this.
The
anyway.
T virus.
It's and then the voice acting is not good. The CG does look good, but the I guess the character models or what they were a little stilted, you know, and I was just like, I mean, I'm sorry,
like a straight to video, a straight to video animation. Yeah, I've seen
somewhat. I mean, it does look really good. Everybody's just standing around talking, man, it looks good. But the moment they start running and doing it, it's just like, ooh, probably you know, taking the little, I don't know, taking this back to the editing table. Anyway, don't watch this shit. I just landed on the grenade for you guys. Don't watch this shit, really, because it's not. Again, unless you enjoy, you know, bullshit Resident Evil stories, then hey, have at it.
Oh, you're a Resident Evil super fan. Maybe you just gotta, you just gotta
feel that need. Yeah,
I feel like if you're a Resident Evil super fan, you know that okay, this is probably not gonna be great. It's like watching. It's like watching fucking Advent Children. Like, you know, this is not going to be great, but it's Final Fantasy, so
I'll give Advent Children something, though. Those fucking character models look amazing. The animation there is top notch. Story and voice acting, well, you know, that's a whole different thing, but yeah. So, yeah, avoid. Anyway, so now I'm just going to jump into
avoid, we sit at what score?
Oh, let me see.
I need to remind you. I thought you were thinking, but I guess you were thinking.
I was thinking,
2.5 will be mediocre. I'm just going to read you from the really list of possibilities. 2.5 will be a mediocre, really mediocre at 2.0, awful of 1.5, and really awful of 1.0.
This is, I mean, it's borderline 1.5. Let me tell you, but I'll go with a 2 because I feel like for me, if I look at it, a 1.5, which is awful, and a 1.0 is really awful. A 1.5 is I reached halfway, closing to the end, and I'm just like, I'm done. I can't.
I'm done. Yeah.
You know, a 1.0 is I'm 20 minutes in, and I'm going, nope. Turning it off. So I have to give it to a 2.0. It's really mediocre because that's really what it is. It's really mediocre. So
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So anyway, let me get into the one game I've been playing, and that's of course Cris Tales, which I purchased last week. And
talk to us about Cris Tales, sir, because that game looks gorgeous.
It is a very gorgeous looking game. The animation is really good. It's obviously, if you can tell, it is hand drawn animation. This is a true like JRPG. It is a JRPG ass JRPG. It fills all those lanes. Turn based. It has a character who is destined to do something, and suddenly
It
they're
has
unaware of it. They don't
it's
even know their history because they're a fucking orphan. I mean, it
oh
checks
yeah.
all the fucking boxes when it comes to this. You know
Your
what I mean?
character doesn't talk, so you can project yourself better to it.
No, that's different. She does. She talks a
Oh.
lot. Yeah, she
Oh,
yeah, she
okay.
does a
At
lot.
least, all
And
right.
it's another thing about the game. It is completely voice acted, which I always love.
All right.
Um,
Does he
uh,
have does he have the expected what is it that you called it? The expected incident event
the
at
inciting
some
event.
point?
Yes,
The
there's an
inciting
inciting event at
event.
the beginning that
Yeah,
suddenly,
okay.
pushes her into becoming a time mage. And she didn't even know she had the abilities to be a time mage. And so now you're traveling through different cities to go to the cathedral and gain new abilities that can help you to that in theory will help you to defeat the empress. I mean, like I
Okay.
said, that's in essence what you're doing. It
Get
is
the crystals and save Terragaya. Okay.
exactly. I think that is the problem with it. Like, so if you were to take out the beautiful looking game that it is, because it is a very beautiful looking game for the record, if you were to take that out, if you were to take out the time portion, which I'll talk about in a second here, the time manipulation portion of it,
Mm.
you really have a standard, probably 16-bit JRPG. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
uh,
So it's good and bad because it's one of those things where it's giving you, it's almost like a love letter to a JRPG. It's like it wants you to, it's for those who love JRPGs and
mm.
everything that comes with. You have a character that's an animal that follows along with you and helps you out.
I forgot.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
yeah.
right. That's
I mean,
right.
it's dude. It is.
It's
It
of
is.
the animal.
Yeah, of course.
The bad guy. It's really not the last bad guy, and
Probably.
he has a henchman that is like weirdly sexy in a way, but
There's
it's
some scandalousness happening here and there, and but no, overall, I am enjoying it. I like the gameplay. The gameplay is again standard turn based RPG. Is not it doesn't have any active time thing. If you put the controller down, nothing happens till you pick it up
yeah.
again. You do have the time manipulation ability where it will she can during battle and sometimes while you're walking upon cities and stuff. On one side, the right side, you'd have a view of the future, and on the left side, you have the view of the past, and you can sort of
Oh,
use it to change stuff. You can have the frog leap into the past to do something, and so it'll change an event in the present, or
that
change
sounds
something in the
cool.
present to change it in the future. In battle, she has an ability to push people to the future or push them to the past. So let's say in battle,
Mm,
they're on the right hand side, and you know that on the right hand side, you can only go into the future. So if it's a character who's old, they
mhm.
become very old when you push them into the future. So it may be a little easier to beat because they've become older. It doesn't always work
Oh,
though. It's certain characters, if they're by pushing them to make them older, they actually are stronger
they
because
have
they're
become.
they become
Yeah, they
actually
have developed
the
more.
the ultimate version. You're like, oh fuck, let me put him back in time. Um, you
Put him
have
back that way. He was a baby.
yeah. Later on, you pick up ways. Obviously, you do meet new characters, but you're limited to 3 at any time. Um, New characters bring new abilities to do stuff. There's one that does magic, but the magic is like plant based. So you have this way of you can either throw the root so it hits them immediately, or let's say you've already moved it into the past, so you throw it and it plants, and then you remove the past to bring it back into the present, or vice versa, or to the
Mm.
future. Well, now it's sprouts and it takes everybody out on that side. It's got some interesting thoughts on how to do battles and with this time manipulation thing. And the only
Was
thing,
he
go
was
ahead, I'm
was Hideo Kojima involved in any of this by any chance?
I don't think so, sir.
Uh,
There's no characters that are obviously named, although I guess Chris Bell is the main character. Christopher is another character, and this is about Chris Tales. So
Oh, that's
maybe, yeah,
right. Oh, maybe.
yeah, it's possible. Maybe
Maybe
he
it's
was
Christ.
consultant. Who knows? Maybe yeah.
Oh, maybe it's a consultant. maybe Chris was a consultant.
So anyway, obviously, oh, by the way, that plays into the name of every Japanese
Town.
RPG.
Oh.
Crystals, also known as crystals, like every crystal you have to get and everything. You see what I'm saying?
There you guys see, yes.
It's a definite play on yeah, I know. It's you know what? Maybe it is Hideo Kojima at this point.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you one thing: the
respect him.
the animation is really cool. I'm enjoying it, but and there's a major but here is that it's become to the point where there isn't a lot of challenge. I've discovered a new ability. First off, I've like I don't run from battles at all, and I feel like the game almost expects you to, because I almost feel like I'm not having any trouble dealing with. In a new town, facing a new boss. I don't have an issue dealing with it. I've never get to the point where I'm like,
you're that good, bro.
No, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's that. I think it's just that it is, maybe it's just not meant to be a challenging thing. It's just, hey, maybe we want to tell a story, but because the challenge really isn't there, this game is set to be about 50 hours long, and I don't know if I'm going to go through 50 hours. I'm already at hour 15. And yesterday had plenty of opportunity to put it on, and I just didn't want to, bro. So I was just like, man, I don't know why. It's
the game did it to itself.
Yeah, I mean that is true, but it's I don't know. I still think it's a good game. I obviously I'm only 15 hours and I'm not ready to give it a score. The characters are very funny. The writing is very good, so I give it that. I love seeing some of the banter between some of the characters. So those little things are still there, and I think that's keeping me going. But realistically, yeah, it's just like I the other day I figured out this new the character learned this new ability that you can reverse the most recent action done to one of your characters or your enemies. So I had a character that got hit with something like a fireball or some shit like that, and now they have scorching. So every time it's their turn, they get burned. Plus they got like 100 hit point damage or something like that. Well, I just quickly sprinkled this or did this magic, and it reversed it. And it's like added the 100 back and took away the scorch, and it's like nothing happened. So I'm just like
the win button,
pretty much. You know what I mean? And then the same thing with the enemies. They put a shield on, or they put something that has resistance, and I just throw this at them, and it takes it off because it puts them the way they were a moment ago. I was like, this is a little too easy now.
What the hell, guys? Developers, give me a challenge here. Come on.
So I think that's probably my only complaint.
Sounds like a game that could actually benefit from having a difficulty slider, huh?
No, because the developer didn't want one. Honestly, I don't even know if there was. If there is, I'm gonna look now when I go back and say
you probably set it on baby mode.
Yeah. Well, I just leave it as it is, I don't think it has a difficulty setting, to be honest with you. But if I happen to spot one, I'm definitely moving it up. But anyway, enjoyable, but really nothing to write home about. It's literally if I were to and this is not my final score, but if I were to give it a score now, it is easily landing at a solid 3.0. And not heading in the right direction, you know what I mean? So
you're hanging. You're not on that tree. You're hanging from that tree.
Yeah, exactly.
From that tree.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Chris Tales by Modus Games, and I feel bad because it's got like a lot of awards and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this should be good, but it's just I don't know, dude. I don't know. But anyway,
a 5.5 awarded by Pampers. Teacher prize says a must for baby development.
I mean, that may be possible.
Magazine said
That's
2
horrible.
thumbs up.
That is horrible. Spoken like a true Dark Souls player. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no! It's happening to me! No! No! Curse you!
Oh, yeah. Welcome to our welcome to the club. Sir.
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be. I'll be right back. Throw that shit from Christelle that made me undo the damage.
I know to reverse everything.
Yeah.
Too late, sir. Too late. It's not how the real world works. Anyway, that's all I've been doing.
We'll start right here. I just want to start, if I may, sir. I gotta definitely give a shout out to the Xbox design. So they have a website where you go in, you design your ideal Xbox controller, and then so the process, you go in, you pick out the colors, and if you wanted to have your name or whatever, or say whatever, or not. It's not engraved or anything like that. It's just printed on it. But anyway, I did mine and it came out amazing. I am so happy with the work here because I picked some particular colors I like. I didn't want to make it in flashy. Actually, the first one I did was very flashy. It was purposely done to, let's make a joke out of this and let's have a controller that is kind of like jokey. I mean, it had pink, it has cyan, it has the colorful, XYAB buttons. It had pink thumbsticks. It was kind of a joke. But then I kind of wanted to take it serious. I was like, let me see if I can make a cool design. And I did one that my inspiration was coffee. And I am having coffee right now. That's what reminded me.
I did see. I think you posted into the group, right?
I posted into the group. I mean, I am so happy with how it came out. It is a gorgeous piece and something that you can truly personalize. That you can say, okay, this is my gamepad. It's the one that I'm using actually now to play Dark Souls, and it doesn't feel any different than the original, which is actually a good thing because the original Xbox Series controller felt good, and I was a little concerned that, well, if they're letting you customize this thing, I wonder if they're gonna minimize on the quality of something here. Like, I don't know. I was thinking of that, even though nothing gave me that impression because they've done this before. They did it with with the Xbox One controllers, and I didn't hear any reports. But I was skeptical. I was like, but I want to try because it looked cool. And dude, I am fucking in love with this thing. It's my piece.
I might actually do the same thing, only because, I mean, one of the reasons I don't play my laptop is because, well, I guess I can finagle it to
the gamepad.
The gamepad,
use it as yeah.
And so, I mean, I can use the PlayStation 5, but not always, and not 100%, because the PlayStation 5 it's designed for the PlayStation 5. This is what it's for,
Yeah. You can use it. You can use it. To be fair,
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
All the controllers that I have, the one that matches my PC the most, like perfectly, like might as well be made for it, is actually the freaking original PlayStation 5 controller. It looks so nice, and the way I understand it is Bluetooth. You can pair it with a bunch of Steam games, and some of them they are already starting to come out to where it'll actually change the icons. Like not all of them.
Yeah.
But some games do allow you to select them. So,
but I was thinking about doing something like that just so I can have something to use when I do. Like, part of me is like, I know I can wait for certain games because chances are they're gonna come out on the console that I actually have.
Mhm. Which is
and-
a Jaguar.
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool to be able to personalize your own gamepad, and it'll be obviously yours. And when I saw what you
really
what you
cool.
had posted, I was like, man, that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? That's
It
really
looks
kind of
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
man, that's about as original as something you can get. And again, I look at fucking Nintendo and fucking Sony. I'm just like, guys, you're leaving money on the table. You will have. I mean, the reality is with the way that the freaking DualSense is, people will be making. I wouldn't be surprised if there would be several people, or several hundreds or thousands of people who would literally buy 50 of them just so they can make them look like every
Like
Marvel
a wall
character or
connection.
something. You know what I mean?
I seriously considered getting another one, and I started even I went as far as to start designing, but I was like, it doesn't matter what I do, what color choice I make. I'm not gonna like it as much as I did at this one, because I love the way this one looks, and that's what stopped me. At the same time, I was like, oh.
But you'll have those folks who go, oh, because this will be the game that I use. This will be the pad that I use for your Souls-like, and then those will be the ones I use for your indie or whatever. It just you have people are like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna have a huge sets of folks who just want to have a controller specifically made, because obviously not every game is going to have a version of that game, and even if it does, it usually includes a console which you already have. You're not gonna buy a new console for it. You would buy the controller, sure, but not the whole new fucking console. So I think that is definitely forward thinking by Microsoft, and honestly, it's where they started in the Xbox One, sure, which is the last generation. But that generation's several years in. We're working our way to 10 years at this point. It's like there isn't even a mention of some sort of workshop for the DualSense. And who knows? Maybe because of limited supply, or I don't know. Maybe there's something behind it. They don't want to do it now, but it's money on the table. It's money left on the table.
They released their remember how they came up with the blue and the red?
The two, yeah. But I'm like, that's cool. Yes, you definitely want.
Yeah, I got the red one, and the first time when I opened, I was like, "Ooh, beautiful!" And I also posted it. I was like, "Ooh, this looks nice." It's just at the other day, it's like, okay, this is a color that I picked. It was cool. I like red, so that's cool. But it's never gonna be. Just make it crazy. Just go insane. If you want to have different color thumbsticks from your bumper, you can. If you want to have like the colors of your favorite team or something. I don't know. I mean, not that there's a huge selection of different different colors altogether, but
you can still. There's a lot you can do with it, and I think if I remember correctly, I think I went in there when it first happened, and I started just making one. And I don't remember how far I got into it, but I was like, man, this is really, it's really cool. It's really something that, I don't know, they're just not tapping into it. And I feel don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a lot of cost behind it, and stuff like, the cost behind of having a workshop that's available for that to happen, and Microsoft obviously they print money. So I get it. It's not, I'm sure there's something behind it that most companies are just not jumping on it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, can you imagine? Maybe even do it differently. Maybe do it based on your maybe not have it so that it can be any mix of colors, but if you can make it so that it's of a specific franchise. Oh, dude! I mean, PlayStation has
like Nintendo does every now and then.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, I'd get on that. I'd have a freaking Spider-Man DualSense. I'd have a freaking God of War DualSense. You know what I'm saying? I would have hell yeah, But anyway, I get it though.
Yeah, no, I was just happy with it. I wanted to mention it, and see if anybody else got into it. I would love to see like their their design also. Yeah, I should make a I should make a GG one. The thing is, it's kind of fucking expensive. I mean, it's not. A Jedi controller is $60. This is gonna run you 80.
Yeah,
So, but
that's not horrible. Yeah, I got you.
yeah, but exactly when you think about the what you're getting at the end, and that's because I had it with like my gamer tag. I keep wanting to say engraved, like it's engraved on it. It's not really engraved.
It's just printed.
It's just lasered in. Yeah, I bet if I scrub it, I could erase it. No,
Don't do that.
no, it's there. It's there. It's there. It's cool. It's mine.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah, you see,
colors.
that's what I'm trying to say. That's even more. Yeah, it's.
We don't have GG colors. Otherwise, I would have made a good game one. That would have
we
been
don't have
awesome.
GG colors, but that's because
No.
our colors are black and white. That's the issue.
Our colors are black and white. Yeah.
We're
We were doing orange and yellow at the very, very beginning, but then no, sorry, not orange yellow. We were doing
I was gonna say I don't remember.
it was purple and yellow. That's what it was, But it kind of looked like the LA Laker colors.
Yeah, well, that's actually it's cool because those two colors. There's these colors that perfectly contrast each other, and that's one of them. Purple and yellow are a perfect contrast to each other, which is weird. But
I like that. Yeah, that's what I did with my coffee one. I threw in some yellow because I was like, I just like the contrast of it. It's like an accent at that point.
Yeah,
And made the back yellow also, and yeah. Enough of that.
All right, yeah. So real quick, I wanted to move into the games radar, the Mouthfuls games radar.
Yes.
Actually, this week we have a few that are
yes.
like very important. Everybody should know of these games, and not that you have to get them all, but just know, hey, they just came out and they're definitely on our radar at some point. So first off, obviously, Dream Twister has already mentioned this is really a light one, but Flight Simulator is or just came out on the 27th to the Xbox Series X and S. And I'm sure it's on Game Pass. So if you have it, there's no excuse. Go try it out.
That is the understanding of the reviews and everything is that because people were kind of curious of how is this going to run on a console. Evidently, it does very well.
As well.
It is locked. I mean, it is targeting 30.
That's good.
But I kind of expected that. But it looks gorgeous, and for that type of game where you're not really going like really fast or making any sudden, it's like it's fine.
Does it target the 30 on the X Series X?
On both. On both. Yeah, so on both. Yeah. Oh, wow. So it's just obviously the more powerful console has the higher resolution. And some of the details a little bit cranked up, but the S is no slouch. Okay. I mean, it still look very gorgeous. Again, Asobo doing amazing with their tech. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. The other game, of course, also Mr. Dream Twister pointed out, that is the Ascent. Came out to Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and of course PC. Just came out on the 29th. That was Thursday. That's another one on the radar. So these three are a little bit of a curveball, but I do want to mention them because one, the first one is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Believe it or not. I've always
say more about that.
Yeah, I've always been curious because I know how well the stories of these games are. And I was like, well, I'm never really going to get into it. Well, here it comes, the Chronicles that includes several chapters. And this is coming to PC, PlayStation 4, and Switch, or coming, I should say. It's already here, July 27th. That would have been Tuesday. So something to keep in the radar if you're also as curious as I was. Omno, and I know that nobody knows what the hell Omno is. This is a what do you call it? Oh God, what is the name of these folks? They just had a presentation yesterday. Annapurna is an Annapurna joint, and coming to PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. I've had this on my radar for a little bit, my own personal radar, and I just wanted to throw it out there. But the big one that I want to point out here, I actually posted onto the group earlier today, and that is a game called Eldest Souls.
Oh, wait,
came
what?
which came to PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch.
That's out already.
Yes. This here is it's basically a Souls-like boss rush. So you're essentially just running through bosses. I don't think that there's any particular enemies throughout, but you're obviously exploring the area. It looks really cool. And
Fast-paced and brutally challenging, Eldest Souls is a unique boss rush Souls-like experience, it says.
It is already on my wish list for Sony PlayStation.
Really?
They finally figure out the fucking wish list. I'm so glad. So it's on my wish list there.
Nice.
It is $19.99. Which may sound a lot for just a boss rush, but I do understand it is challenging. There is some light RPG elements. The game looks and runs really well. Eric Root shared his insight because he did play a demo of it a while back.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he was like, yeah, he just found out it's coming out now. Was like posted it. And he goes, if I'm fucking buying it, Giovanni's already on. I think Giovanni already bought it. You know what I mean? So because of the post, I think he knew about it as well. And I've had my eye on it for a little bit, and I'm like, man, it's out now, and it looks pretty cool.
Boss, the only thing that concerns me is if it's just fighting, bosses one after the other. Like, I need to have a story, and I don't mind. Like, I don't mean like a story like just give me a background to put this fighting all these bosses one after the other. It's like, no, give me something in between. Give me some exploration. Like, if it's just gonna be like.
That's what
a Mortal Kombat tower, of bosses. Then I'm not.
Yeah, this actually, if you look at there's actually a story trailer. I should probably share that, but there's a story trailer, and it could not be more Dark Souls. I mean, look at the name. I even played with the name. I was like, Eldest Souls sounds like a mix between Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. They could not be. I mean,
that's because they could not call it Dying Cells.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so that's our from the that's the games we caught on our radar for this week. So go check them out. If any of them sound interesting, it is time to get into the useless news that you can use. And of course, speaking of games, I'm going to start with August's free games for PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh my God, I'm excited. August is usually a very good month. Where both companies bring out some of their best titles because it's almost like it's not the holidays just yet, but it's about to start. Yes. Lay it on me, sir.
All right,
what does Sony have?
Sony has games for August 2021. It is Hunter's Arena Legends, Plant vs. Zombie Battle for Neighborville, and Tennis World Tour 2. Yeah.
All right. So okay. So
these wonderful titles will be available between August 3rd and September 6th.
I see what you did there. That was funny. You gave me the Xbox list, and I know usually Xbox doesn't really bring up their best title. They have Game Pass, so that's fine, but it still doesn't justify the crappy games that they throw in out there for Xbox Live or Xbox Gold, whatever they call it. Okay, give me the Sony ones. Which ones are they?
So the Xbox ones.
Wait, that was it.
That was it, sir.
Those are Sony games for this month.
Those are Sony games for this month.
So we have nothing then. We get nothing.
Yeah, Hunter's Arena Legend is a 30-player PvP and PvE combat-based battle royale.
Finally, a battle royale game on PlayStation 4.
It is a new
PlayStation
release.
5.
It just got released, and according to the developer, describes the game one that combines RPG, MOBA, and many other genres.
My favorite.
Even They
MOBA.
don't know what the hell it is. So Plant vs. Zombies, I'm sure
Wow.
everybody knows what Plant vs. Zombies is, but of course this is Battle for Neighborville, which is a team shooter that features over 20 fully customizable characters, classes, and both couch and online co-op play. And finally, Tennis World 2 allows fans to play as both the world's top players of tennis, guys.
That's what I have to say about that.
It's sad that the that the lineup and the most exciting one to me is tennis.
Oh my god, we can write off August already because
I will be tagging the tennis. I'm
there's
not gonna lie.
nothing.
I've always kind of enjoyed some tennis games, but yeah. So I'll tag that bad boy. But I have no desire for Plants vs. Zombies ever. And Hunter's Arena, when they showed that off on the State of Play, looked god awful, and I was like, I want nothing to do with this either. So
I remember it. And yes, guys, I understand. Plants vs. Zombies, I know it's a good shooter. It has its fans. Neither one of us is the target demographic for that game.
No,
Nor do we
not
want to
even close.
test it.
Not exactly. Nor do I want to become it. So moving over to Microsoft Games with Gold, they will be including 1, 2, 3, 4 games. We have Darksiders 3, Yooka-Laylee, Lost Planet 3, and Garou: Mark of the Wolves. We all know what Darksiders 3 is. That'll be available from August 1st through the 31st. It lets you play as Fury, which is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I believe Fury is a female, so horseman is loosely being used here. Lost Planet 3 will be available.
You want to go?
I mean, we're going to do it.
No, we're not. I fucking refuse.
As do I, sir. If it's written in the freaking Bible, I'm going with the damn
Exactly.
horseman.
I'm going with horsemen, not horse people.
Okay.
You know.
Agreed.
No.
Lost Planet 3
not
is
horse gender neutral.
Lost Planet 3 is available between the 1st and the 15th. A game no one really wants to play. Let's be real. Yooka-Laylee, which was developed by former core members of Rare as a worthy spiritual successor to games like Banjo-Kazooie, will be available from the 16th through the 15th. And then finally, Garou: Mark of the Wolves will be available from August 16th through the 31st, and it is the last entry of the classic Fatal Fury series. I didn't know that was even a thing, but hey, those are the free games for both Xbox and PlayStation. And if we were to say that August is a month to forget, that would be an understatement.
This
Over
will
to
be let them have cake month.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, as long as we are keeping it in happy jolly news, Scarlett Johansson is filing a suit over Disney Plus Black Widow release. With Scarlett Johansson's time as an Avenger seemingly at the rear view, the Black Widow star has filed a breach of contract suit against Marvel's owner, Disney. The lawsuit, filed in Los Angeles Superior Court this week, alleges that the studio breached its agreement with the star when they released the film on Disney Plus alongside the theatrical debut. There's a quote here that says, as Ms. Johansson, Disney, Marvel, and most everyone else in Hollywood knows, a theatrical release is a release that is exclusive to movie theaters, defining rights. Matter of factly, Disney was well aware. The quote continues: Disney was well aware of this promise, but nonetheless directed Marvel to violate its pledge and instead release the picture on the Disney Plus streaming service the very same day it was released in movie theaters. They were also, and this is me talking, they were also doing kind of a campaign, for the longest time. So I don't know if they caught it, or
I feel like they
or
missed that particular trailer from
oh,
like
that's
7 or 8 months ago that kind of said that's where it was going, but I guess they were waiting for the
we
action to happen.
we kind of knew in advance already that was the game that they were playing. Also, Disney movie, it was happening a lot with them, but okay.
Oh, well,
Um,
I mean, we know what this is. We're waiting to see
yeah.
what
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
revenue
yeah.
was. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. The pandemic has fundamentally transformed the way first-run movies are delivered and consumed, at least in the short term. In 2020, Disney and other studios opted to release films straight to streaming rather than suffer perpetual delays and poor box office numbers as restriction closed the non-essential businesses of movie theaters. Uh, more recently, they have split the difference as movie theaters have reopened, offering same-day streaming. According to a copy of the suit obtained by TechCrunch, Johansson's concern about the streaming service predate the pandemic. When Disney launched its streaming service, Disney Plus, the suit claimed Johansson's representatives sought assurances from Disney slash Marvel that Black Widow's solo film will still get a theatrical release in spite of the company's bid to boost subscription numbers. He cites in an email with Marvel's chief counsel from May of that year. And it says, we totally understand that Scarlett's willingness to do the film and her role and her whole deal is based on the promise that the film will be widely theatrically released like our other pictures. We understand that should the plan change, we will need to discuss this with you and come to an understanding as the deal is based on a series of, in parentheses, very large box office bonuses. And then it continues. It's no secret that Disney is releasing films like Black Widow directly into Disney Plus to increase subscribers and thereby boost their company's stock price. And that is hiding behind the COVID-19 as a pretext to do so. The attorney John Berlinski said in a statement provided to TechCrunch, but ignoring the contract of the artist responsible for the success of its film in furtherance of this short-sighted strategy violates the rights, and we look forward to providing as much in court. This will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talents stand up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contract. And then I want to jump forward to an update where Disney actually issued a response to the suit. And it says, there is no merit. This is Disney. There is no merit whatsoever in this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Disney Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. That was the response from Disney. Yeah. That is some sticky situation, sir. First off, it is, and I mean, this is my limited understanding of Hollywood, which by limited, I mean, I don't care. So I don't care of the effects of the affairs of Hollywood, and therefore, my opinion is solely based on my ignorance, and take that as whatever you see fit. But I understand the difficulties of the pandemic, but I mean, a contract is a fucking contract. if your contract you specify theatrical release, and now you're changing the definition of theatrical release, which it almost seems like what they're trying to do, or just saying, well, pandemic happened, and therefore, therefore, we had to do this move. Then they should have actually opened up negotiation. They should have actually communicated. I mean, Disney should have communicated with the Johansson team. At the same time, I could also see it where this movie would have been just a theatrical release only. It probably wouldn't have done as good. At the same time, I mean, restrictions are being relaxed. I feel like a lot of people are feeling more confident to go back to the movie theaters before they inevitably close them again, because of course cases of COVID are surging. Exactly. And nobody's paying attention because they don't want to vaccinate.
No one wants to vaccinate, and no one wants to look at it and what it just like, hey, we're past it. We're past it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be, first off, let's point out the obvious on this. This has to do with money. I mean,
same
if
old
that's
why.
not, it's the same old why. It has nothing to do with it's all it has to do with. Yes, there were parts of the contract which on any contract has, stretch goals and bonuses and all this stuff that that can happen with whatever. Yes, HBO or I should say Warner Brothers and on some of the other ones have reached out early to set things up. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
And Hollywood has not been and you have heard of the directors and actors not being happy about it.
Of course not. Of course not, because now they're limited to just what they got paid for the film as opposed to all the stretch bonuses.
Right.
But the reality, and so before I start saying this, okay, first off, we all know this is about money. So we're talking about a millionaire who wants to sue a $1 trillion conglomerate for some additional $1 million.
Yes.
So this is so out of the who gives a fuck thing. You know what I'm saying?
I would say.
But the reality is,
safely.
Yeah. And by the way, what I'm about to say does not suddenly mean I am a corporate apologist or in any of the sort. Okay. But there are a lot of things to consider here. And the reality is Black Widow was supposed to come out last year, over a year ago. So as any company, you have your expenditures and you have what you consider to be revenue that comes back in. And when you judge those things and you are now a year over it, you're already at a loss. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care for Disney, for the record. Again, I'm not trying to defend them here, but this can go with any company, particularly ones who are openly traded on the market. They have a fiduciary duty to their stakeholders and stockholders. And it's like, hey, we still need to be able to, provide what we've been providing.
Yeah.
And so it only makes sense that they did this. They could have done what the other companies have doing. And that is, like, there's no additional money coming to Warner Brothers for releasing Dune on. It's part of the service. It's not like they're charging an additional $30. You know what I'm saying? So Disney actually did more. I don't want to pay for it, but there are plenty of people who are, and by the way, they're still paying for the service. So it's like on top of paying for the service of whatever, they are also paying an additional $30 just to be able to watch that immediately. Does that make up the difference? No, of course it doesn't. But we are in different times. I've said it before. I've said it a bunch of times. I think since we've been in this fucking pandemic, the days of the $1 billion films are gone, and these are just actors and big name folk who are on the end going, this is starting to hurt.
We don't want it to change.
Welcome to the real fucking world. This shit's been hurting for over a year for everybody else.
Yeah.
Give it the fuck. Say that shit right there alone. Whereas, like, I'm not siding with Disney, but I'm almost like, Disney, do your worst, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what? You don't make the additional few millions? I can tell you of a fucking thousands of people who are suffering right now who can give a shit about this. You know what I'm saying? And you just want to make some more money. So, yeah. Again, I just want to really go on record saying I am not trying to either side with Disney, because I am definitely not, but I am sure not siding with any. By the way, I don't know if you saw it. there's been an update that the actress Emma Stone is also considering doing a lawsuit because Cruella, which is another Disney joint,
Cruella,
came out to whatever, also on the $30 thing. So it wasn't like it was free for everybody.
Mhm.
You know, so also came out to it.
Of
It's also
course.
considering doing it. It's like
This
again,
will set if Scarlett Johansson wins this, it's gonna set a precedent where suddenly everybody's gonna want their cut. You
Oh, yeah.
know, all the way back to freaking the actors that played
Mulan.
Mulan. Exactly. Yeah, it's just gonna it's a clusterfuck. For all intended purposes, I also want to point out that I am in no way taking Scarlett Johansson's side. I don't even like her as an actress. All right, so who gives a shit? I can care
Wow, that's
two
rough.
shits if she gets, 50 million versus 20 million. You know, I'm just saying, you know, if there's a contract. And who knows? I'm not a legal expert or anything like that either. For all intended purposes, that contract could have been written so poorly that it allowed Disney to use a loophole like, hey,
Exactly.
COVID-19. You know,
Then whose fault is that?
well, that exactly. At that point, let the lawyers have a death match. At that point,
I demand trial by combat.
exactly, trial by combat.
And I'm just a spectator. I just want to see it. I'm not part of it. I just demand that this lawyer and this lawyer, I need you to fight it out. We'll get you some swords
Fight.
and we'll figure this shit out real quick. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things.
Lawyer combat.
Nice. Did you say lawyer combat?
Yeah.
Nice. That actually sounded like, oh, that was cool. Good shit, bro. Good shit. Anyway, I hear you, bro. My next piece, guys, is Annapurna Interactive actually had a showcase that occurred yesterday. I'm not going to say too long on this because they hit, some announcements, but this is their first showcase, even though they have been in the video game space for about 5 to 6 years. And if you don't know Annapurna is actually a big producing company. They actually do films as that was their primary thing.
Mhm.
And about 5-6 years ago, they have interactive now, and then they do games, and they have a lot of games. Some of the best. I mean, I call them indie, even though technically Annapurna is helping out with them, but they're selective. They're very much the art house version of Devolver Digital. And
independent instead of indies.
Independent. And so it was really cool to watch. I think it's actually one of the better ones. I think Koch Media or Koch Media and fucking Gearbox guys take fucking notes. These guys did a maybe 30-minute presentation. It was well done. Like Koch Media they didn't show any games. They were just showing the developer interviews. This did something similar, but it was maybe a minute and a half. But they still showed game. They were still showing gameplay. It's like, hey, this is the new person we're working with, and this is what they've done before. One of them, which was really interesting, and I can't wait to it, is Ivy Road. That's the name of the company. It has the creator of Stanley Parable and the Davey Redden has partnered with one of the co-creators of Gone Home and Tacoma, which is Carla Zimonia, and they're coming together with a composer of Minecraft, Daniel Rosenfeld, to create a new game for Annapurna. It's just like when you hear those names, you go, "Hey, I know Stanley Parable. That was a good game. Hey, I played Gone Home. That was a pretty good game." It's like, so these two minds are coming together, and they had probably the funniest presentation. Again, no more than a minute and a half. You're not sitting through a 10-minute fucking interview and not seeing anything. It was funny. They had jokes. It was just well done. I was like, you guys fucking get it. You know what I mean? It was like, you guys understand it. Maybe it is because they are a movie company and they understand how to present something for people to sit and keep watching. Anyway, some of the cool highlights, I'll go through this quick. First off is the Artful Escape, which we actually saw back in 2017. That's how far back that shit got announced. It is officially coming out September 9th for Xbox and Steam, and it will, of course, be coming to Game Pass. This actually is a cool game that actually has voiced by Mark Strong, Carl Weathers, Lena Headey, and Jason Schwartzman, Michael Johnston, Caroline Kinley. So you have some really cool voices here, which is pretty amazing to me. Neon White, which we actually saw, I think we saw that maybe at the Xbox One. I don't remember which one we saw that at, but it was an interesting looking, fast-paced sort of card action game. You have to kind of look at it to understand it. Memoir Blue, which looked like a very indie, very art house thing. So I'm not going to stick too much on it because no one's interested. Storyteller was actually a pretty cool one. You really should check out the trailer. It was like, it's almost like a puzzle game, but the puzzle is you take certain elements and you make a quick little story. So this 2 pages of this book has to have this story that's a tragedy. So you take the elements, you make a tragedy out of it. And the next one will have 3 or 4 pages with 5 or 6 cells, like it was a fucking comic. And you know, that's the puzzle of it, is to make it within those frames. And it tells a quick little story and it moves on. And so it looks pretty cool. Again, Ivy Road was announced as one of the newer teams. Stray, they showed off some gameplay for Stray, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen. Stray is,
I remember Stray. Yeah,
it's about this lost cat in a city, and it looks really, really cool. It's coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC in early 2022. So they didn't really get a solid date, but it does look like it's coming along nicely. Cat lovers will love this because that cat, the physics of the cat, I was like, damn, that's on point right there.
Cat physics.
Yeah.
The 2021 a fad.
Yeah.
Cat physics. It was. We thought it was ray tracing. No, son.
It's cat physics.
It's cat physics.
Exactly.
Yes.
Some platform updates. The Pathless is coming to Steam on November 16th. What Remains of Edith Finch is headed to iOS on August 16th. That's very odd.
Oh, wow.
I Am Dead is coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox on August 9th. Telling Lies and Gorogua, which I played Gorogua.
Tell me sweet little lies.
Both headed to Xbox Game Pass soon. No specific date. And then to finally finish on the thing with the update, the most recent update or expansion for Outer Wilds, which is Echoes of the Eye, coming to PlayStation 4, Steam, Epic Game Store, and Xbox on September 28th.
Fuck it, everything.
Pretty much, except for Switch. Yeah.
Except for Switch. Switch.
Or Switch.
Need to switch to Switch. Well, speaking of everything, despite a short supply, the PlayStation 5 is Sony's fastest selling console ever. How do you look at that, sir? That is bananas, I will say.
That is bananas.
That is bananas.
During the pandemic, when people are hard pressed for money and whatever, people are still like, fuck it. We can't eat this week, guys. But guess what? We can fucking play Fortnite. What?
Listen, consoles are dead. Stadia told me. Yeah. The company said it cleared 10 million units. I'm doing the finger thing and everything, on the side of the mouth. 10 million units sold in 249 days. PlayStation 4 sold 10 million in 271 days. The PlayStation 5 has sold 10 million units worldwide since its launch in November, reaching that number faster than any other console made by Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company said on Wednesday. The PS5 reached its milestone on July 18, 249 days after its launch, according to another news release sent Wednesday. By comparison, Sony's announced on August 12 of 2014 that 10 million PlayStation 4 had been sold 271 days after its launch. I almost remember that piece of news, actually. Sony was less enthusiastic about the weaker selling PlayStation 3, announcing in October of 2008 that it expected that the console will launch in November 11. That the console, which launched in November 11, 2006, to reach 10 million units sold by March 2009. So a few, 3 years later.
Yeah.
The PlayStation, by the way, side note, because a lot of people seem to still believe that console generation was like a like a hand down Xbox generation winner, and that is not the case. The Xbox 360 had a lead a lead start, and it was doing incredibly well at the beginning. But as everything Microsoft, once it reaches the top, it kind of like settles down, like the giant goes to sleep. Yeah. It goes to sleep, and then Sony, which had a catastrophic, beginning, $599 attack its weak point for massive damage year, just came back, just did a rollback, a change back, like they a rollback in the sense that they changed a lot of the things that they were thinking that we were going to do, like, nobody needs Rumble, that's last gen, and a lot of the decisions that were kind of silly they did, and they do some price cuts, and but not only that, but the games, which has been Sony's stronghold, the first party games that started coming out. Microsoft just kept doing the same first party games. They continue making the first ones that got them to the halfway mile. They just continue doing the same ones. And meanwhile, Sony was releasing all these new, original and awesome titles. And this was a battle that at the very end, Sony PlayStation 3 ended up ended up selling more units than the Xbox 360. And it sounds weird because people still remember, but people remember the blunders of the PlayStation 3. They don't seem to remember how amazing that catalog was, closer, from mid to the end.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
From
and
really
how
big titles like Last of Us to small titles like The Puppeteer. They had things covered. Yeah, absolutely, man.
And The Last of Us, but and people forget that. Yeah, Microsoft had an incredibly first half with the Gears of War, the Halo 3, the Viva Pinata, the Fable, and all that, and the Forza, and then they went like, no, I tell you what it was. They discovered motion controls. That was the dark ages of let's make a Kinect, and it all went super mega downhill from there, because they were no longer focusing on the people that got them there. The hardcore gamer. It was all about, let's just bring the casual now, and the casuals were already too occupied playing the Wii, playing Wii Sports, and only Wii Sports. so yeah. I just want to throw that side note there. Coming back to the fact that I was saying PlayStation. Hold on, I forgot what I was. PlayStation 4, which is still supported and manufactured console, sold more than 115 million units in nearly 8 years on store shelves. But the 10 million milestone is still significant, at least when it comes to platform makers declaring a big success. In 2008, Xbox head Don Matrix infamously said, the first console to sell 10 million wins the generation of hardware. Lol.
Yeah.
Conveniently, the Xbox 360 had crossed that line the month before. Microsoft has not announced hard sales numbers on the Xbox Series X, although don't worry, they are doing very, very fine according to the financials that they released a couple of days ago. Not in time for this peace story, though, however. But not 10 million either. Which launched on November 10, 2020. On Tuesday, however, Microsoft chief executive Satya Nadella told investors that the Xbox Series X and S are our fastest selling console ever. So the fastest selling Xbox. There you go. Okay. Industry analyst Daniel Ahmad said his firm Nico Partners estimates 6.5 million Series X and S units sold as of June 30th. So se jodieron because they said, it was them themselves that said that the first console that reaches 10 million wins the race. So there you go.
I mean, talk about.
Let's
about
hear it.
speaking life into something. Yeah.
Sony's statement on Wednesday acknowledged the fact that PlayStation 5 hit the milestone despite facing greater demand and supply constraint than any of its predecessors, pushing through supply challenges and a global pandemic. We're proud to have delivered a transformational gaming experience, the gaming experience that is captivating players around the world. And then they said that the company also said that MLB The Show 21, which launched on mid-April, has sold more than 2 million copies so far, half of them on Xbox, and it is easily the fastest selling version of that game in the franchise's 16-year history, mainly because Sony San Diego also developed a version for the Xbox One and Xbox Series X under a historic agreement brokered by the Major League Baseball. MLB had to come in and broker a peace between the warring factions of the Xboxes and the PlayStationists. The Xbox X Series X version was offered to Xbox Game Pass subscriber on the game's launch day, which is likely why Sony can claim 4 million players, a total above 2 million copies sold. And that's well, if I may, sir, since we're talking about Sony, first of all, congratulations! It's an incredible achievement. I think 10 million by this time, and with the supply constraint, that is wild. That is unexpected.
It's amazing because one would have to wonder if there were no constraints, supply constraints, what that number would actually be.
I will have to wonder, but not in the sense of I can't. It's probably the sky is the limit.
No,
honestly,
I wouldn't go that far.
Honestly, I will probably go like it could have been the opposite. It could have actually been like, hey, more people are staying at home, bunkering at home. It was a big time for indoor entertainment sales of everything overall.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect storm because new consoles were coming out and the PlayStation was hot because PlayStation 4 was hot. So at the same time, it makes me wonder if by the way, amazing launch lineup that Sony had for the PlayStation 5. Probably one of the better launch lineups of all consoles.
Yeah.
I would say so. There was a reason to want to get a PS5, but it also makes me think that I wonder if COVID actually helped rather than hindered. The possibility of more.
I would definitely say that if you go back to the launch of Animal Crossing and the launch of Doom Eternal, which happened around the same exact time, and how those were the number one games being played left and right because people really couldn't get up and go anywhere. Not that Animal Crossing wouldn't have the numbers anyway, but I agree that you just, it's impossible to tell. There's so many other factors that you don't know how it would have swayed either way. But yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating what when you think about it, it's like, well, the first initial was, man, if they didn't have the supply, I mean, if they didn't have the supply constraints
Mhm.
and you had a pandemic, then you're talking the sky's the limit at that point, right? Because people are still home, but just they don't have a supply constraint. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
the people are
right.
still home. So it's you're right. There's a lot of what ifs, in those scenarios, but
Makes me think. Yeah,
congratulations.
makes you wonder. But it's still a phenomenal achievement, and
Oh,
of course,
for sure.
making for a technology that was supposed to be dead. Stadia told me,
Oh, that's the
an amazing achievement. That there's it's like when they announce, "Oh, PCs are dead." PC gaming's dead, bro.
They've said that a few times, haven't they?
Oh yes, I believe since the 90s they've been saying that.
Yeah.
So
Thank God. No.
all right, you
shit.
deserve the next piece, sir. You very well deserve it. That was very okay. All right.
I
I'll
have
tell you
just
what.
a quick twofer here. I can just throw in real quick.
Yeah. I'll come back to Sony, but yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, this is just really more sad news. Two delays. First and foremost, Kena Bridge of Spirits has been delayed once again, but only to September of 2021.
Oh, that's
The
not bad.
lovely looking action adventure game that will be a PlayStation console exclusive has been delayed a month to polish off the game across all platforms, according to Ember Lab statement. Honestly, that game already looked pretty. So if you're, I've seen like they've already did some gameplay and stuff like that. If you're polishing, keep polishing. I'm fine with
polishing,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm okay
Take
with the
your
extra time. Yep.
That's Tina, the Warrior Princess.
The what?
Nothing. Just keep going.
Horizon Forbidden West, unfortunately, has also been delayed, but this one has been delayed till 2022.
Oh, my heart can't take that.
Yes.
There was nothing coming already, and now there's even less.
There's even less. Now we're relying on third parties.
Well, true. But we are definitely catching up on our backlogs.
Pretty much, yeah. Bloomberg and Jeff Grubb both reported that the Horizon Forbidden West, the upcoming sequel to Guerrilla Games' Horizon Zero Dawn, will be delayed into Q1 of 2022 after initially targeting a holiday 2021 release. Of course, didn't really. It's sad, but not unexpected.
Not unexpected.
They were when they showed off when they had their state of play for Horizon. It was pretty clear at that point that they were really wanting the holiday season, but also knew that it was, it wasn't something that they can solidly say at that point. So
yeah, now a game of that magnitude, don't get me wrong. Obviously, that presentation looked amazing, and I could have actually betted that. Oh yeah, they'll be able to release it this holiday. Why not? If it's looking like this, but a game of that magnitude, you want to make sure that everything, working, everything's polished. And at that point, it's like, listen, we don't need another Cyberpunk disappointment. All right.
No. Honestly, but the one thing I can say about Cyberpunk is thank you, because now you've given the blueprint of what not to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So.
Exactly. Now, turns out delaying a game not such a bad thing after all.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's something that Shigeru Miyamoto said.
Yeah. Man, is a wise man. It's a wise man.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to Sony, this was actually kind of an unexpected, nice surprise this week, and it is that the PS5 storage expansion is up. It's open now. Unfortunately, only 2 beta testers. But
okay. I was gonna say this is external, right? External.
The internal one.
Internal, interesting.
The one. This is I'm talking about the one because the external have been out since like March, I think, or probably way before that. But the one that lets you install PlayStation 4. Games and play them externally. Like I have one of those, and it works. It works awesome. But no, I'm talking about, that the little SSD NVMe drive that every PlayStation 5 has. Well, it has a spot to upgrade it from its 800 megabyte or 600. I think it leaves you with 665 gigabytes is what it leaves you to install PlayStation 5 games, which is not much. And one of the reasons why I opted to get an external hard drive for the PlayStation 4 titles that I still play, like Dark Souls 3. The PlayStation, this will allow you to install PlayStation 5 games and run them at the speeds of its internal drive. So this is the expansion that everybody's waiting for. So everybody can start splurging in 2 terabyte hard drives or SSD drives to put them into the PlayStation 5. If you guys remember, Microsoft already have expansion cards for its Xbox series consoles. It's a proprietary system, but it's one that you just buy the brand, you plug it in, and it works. So this one, unfortunately, it's more complicated than it needs to be. Today, or actually this was yesterday.
Everything with Sony. I have to say something real quick. Sidebar. I remember there was a time that we were all like, so what is the big deal about smart delivery? That feels like a catchphrase. That feels like this and this and that. And now that we're in the other end of it, and you start thinking of, how do you move this file so that I can do this version on the PlayStation 4, and you gotta upload this and then download this, and then hopefully you got the right one, and blah 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 blah. Suddenly, smart delivery goes, no, it's just there. It recognizes it. You're like, oh shit. Where's the easy button? Where's the Staples easy button? We just need the easy button, damn it.
I almost feel like there should be a tweet between Xbox XS saying, "This is how you make sure you're playing the Xbox the next gen version of."
They would nail it. I mean, it's too late now because that should have been something at the get-go. Because you think
that's
about.
Okay. I think after you hear this, I think they still have a chance to do it with this one. Yes, yes, and believe me, I've already seen the tweets from people, not from actual Xbox executives. So yesterday, Thursday, in a new post on the PlayStation website, Sony detailed how to expand the SSD storage space for the PlayStation 5. The process is, at least to those who don't have existing experience with this kind of stuff, potentially a head spinner. And there's a tweet from SkillUp. You've heard SkillUp, the YouTuber. Says, gonna take out a student loan and get a master's in electrical engineering so I can upgrade my PS5 SSD. It is, I mean, well, you'll see. Sony first confirmed storage expansion for the PS5 back in November and noted that it will use an M.2 solid state drive, or SSD. There's also the wrinkle that PlayStation 5 games need to run on an SSD. A mere hard drive simply isn't technologically cut to run next-gen games, though it is possible to store and play PlayStation 4 games from an external hard drive for months. PlayStation 5 users have had to work with 667.2 gigabytes of storage capacity for PlayStation 5 games. For now, the ability to expand PlayStation 5 SSDs will roll out on a system update provided to so-called beta testers. And there is a link on how to register. It's not that hard. You can Google it and register. It doesn't mean you're going to get picked, but you might. First, there are some prerequisites as to what drives you can and cannot store. You are limited in capacity and can choose something that sports between 250 gigabytes and 4 terabytes of storage. A 4 terabytes of storage, a 4 terabyte SSD storage, by the way, is going to cost you the price of 2 or 3 PlayStation 5 diskless. So
I was gonna say, yeah.
yeah. I would say opt for the 1 terabyte, and I think you'll be fine. You can; those are running around $200 right now.
Although to be fair,
200 to 250.
To be fair,
Mhm.
those are still, I guess, in comparison to, I don't know, 5 years ago, that's still actually really cheap. The 4 terabyte, it's pretty cheap.
Right.
I think it's going down, but still pretty expensive. Yeah.
Right. The read speeds. By the way, Mad Dog. Yeah, you're a PC gamer. You know about this thing. So
Of course.
you got to make sure that whatever SSD you buy, then the read speed needs to be at least 550 megabytes per second. By the way, the module itself has to be of 5 specific dimensions in length: 30 millimeters, 42 millimeters, 60 millimeters, 80 millimeters, 110 millimeters, and 22 millimeters wide. So
Not sure.
the first 4 was length, and the second is wide. I feel like it should say by 22 wide, but there you go. Sony says that 25 millimeter drive is not supported by PS5. You will also. By the way, it continues. You also need one. You also need one with this interface. It needs to be a PCIe Gen 4 by 4 M.2 NVMe SSD. You got that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Repeat it again.
.4.
Oh, perfect. All right. Exactly what I said. PCIe Gen 4 by 4 M.2 NVMe SSD. Wait, that's right. No, I'm not done yet. Then, by the way, you need to make sure that it has a heatsink. Because the space provided, it doesn't have any cooling provided. So you need to make sure that it has a heatsink.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes with its own cooling. By the way, there is an image that has the dimensions of that heatsink, because it cannot be too big, because otherwise it won't fit. And by the way, there's still more. You'll need to partially dismantle your console by taking off the external plate, unscrewing the expansion slot, carefully screwing your SSD, adjusting the spacer within, then reinstalling the cover and plates with some added room, which Sony recommends about 2 centimeters. Sony details in a series of IKEA pamphlet illustrations. I guess, yes, IKEA. I should say IKEA looking, but well, I understand where he's trying to go. Before you do this, this is of note. Before you do this, you'll want to make sure your PS5 is fully up to date. You can double check that by heading into the system software menu under system settings. On your console settings, you already know how to do that. The console information option should tell you whether or not you have the latest version, which again will roll out to beta users only, as of right now at least. After you have successfully installed your SSD, you should see a new field in the storage focus areas of your PlayStation 5 operating system, indicating the option for an M.2 SSD. I just have one thing to say, Mad Dog. I'm opening my arms and I welcome you to PC gaming, sir.
I'm glad you think so, because yes, this is an option for those who obviously, I think, let's be real, those who are experienced in these particular things, experienced tech people, I guess, they're going to have much issue with essentially thinking about your PlayStation 5.
Right.
More casual users, realistically, are not even going to know that there's an issue. They're just like, oh, I need space. Let me delete this game. Okay, let me put this in. That's what more casual reading is. So I get why you would want more space. I get why those who know that you can get more space and maybe even figure out how to do it will get more space. But I also feel that the common gamer is just going to be, oh, so I need to delete this game in order to put it. Got it. Okay. Well, I haven't played that in a while. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? It's because in the end, this is still console gaming. You know what I mean? And that's just the mentality of a console gamer. They're like, oh, fuck, I need to delete this. You know, so it's cool that the option's there. And it's cool that, you know, that you're able to do it, even though it seems like a fucking, you know, it seems like I can find the ring of Mordor faster than I can fucking put this shit into my PlayStation 5. But at the same time, I don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue. I personally, right now, as many games as I've played so far, and I've already downloaded my system, I still have 300 gigabytes of space because
you are famous to know.
Yeah,
you are famous to have gone the entire PlayStation 4 era without upgrading your hard drive by moving things in and out,
correct,
like a total plebe, because I gave you a fucking hard drive. I offered to install it
to the freaking hard drive.
No, but I offered to install it internally, and you were like, "No, I'm fine." It's like
that kind of shit didn't bother you. I was fine. There was never a freaking issue. It never had an issue.
It's still, I mean, it.
How many times have I said, "I'm done with this game"? Delete.
Right.
All the fucking,
I know.
How often do I go back to them? Not very often at all. So it's like I have used the game, the data that I needed for the specific amount of time. I don't have use for this data anymore. And I've realized more and more that even if I have downloaded fucking, what is that, the UV art game, it doesn't matter. I've downloaded it a few times to start it, and I'll play maybe fucking 30 minutes, and I go, okay, well, no, I'm not really, you know, more and more, I'm not gonna go back. And that's why throughout the entire PlayStation 4, I never ran out of space, because it was like, I'm done with this game, I've moved on. I take it off the system. Why am I keeping it there? It's not like I can't get it again. You know, I still own the license. You know what I mean? Essentially, I've paid for it, but I don't need it right now. I just move it out. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good solution for you that have, you know, the privilege that don't have internet caps. That's great to hear, and we are grateful that you apologize for Sony for having
definitely I'm not
600 gigabytes when I think the PlayStation 4 had a terabyte. If I know, like, they were selling terabyte systems already at one point, and somehow the PlayStation 5 could only give me 600. All right.
No, don't get me wrong. I still say it's bullshit that was the amount that came in. That's bullshit for sure. Okay.
And we're glad that you can re-download stuff, but for those who can't, you know, because they obviously have bandwidth caps, and they would rather like keep their games.
That's what I'm trying to say. I rarely ever go back to download these things.
All jokes aside, I get it, and I know this isn't a problem. This isn't a problem for you, because that doesn't bother you. You know, it fucking bothered me. And the first thing I did with the PlayStation 4 Pro, the very first thing, not even having turned it on for the very first time, I was like, I got it out of the box, and I was like, let me take this opportunity, because I already know that it has the firmware and everything. Let me take this opportunity to upgrade the hard drive that it have, which I believe it was a terabyte. Yes, it was a terabyte, because it happened to be the hard drive that I offered to install on your PlayStation, straight from straight from PlayStation OEM. And let me upgrade it to this 2 terabyte Fire CUDA, which had like a little bit. It was kind of like a hybrid, so I was not just doing it for the capacity. I've also was doing it for the speed, because those hard drives were mechanical hard drives, you know, back in the day. You know, that this new one's SSD, you don't have to worry about that, but you have to worry about a lot of other things, evidently. Apparently. And before anybody thinks, no, I'm not going to bat for proprietary systems. You know, I still prefer the fact that with Sony, I have the option of choosing the drive that I can, that I can install at the price that it comes. Because right now, the Xbox Series X, yes, it already has a proprietary 1 terabyte expansion card. That expansion card is $219, which is about the price of SSDs right now, to be fair. But if I remember from the past, even when when storage prices were going down, those proprietary ones never went down. Yep. So this 1 terabyte will still be $219 when a 2 terabyte hard drive will probably go down in price at some point, in the future. So I'm not going to bat. I'm not saying yes. The Xbox option is just plug and play, literally, but I still prefer this way. That I can actually use my own SSD. But then again, I am a techie person. I am a techie person, and I will help you. I will help you, Mad Dog. I will help anybody if at some point they want to say, okay, this is bullshit. Let me at least update it to double the amount. Now, I don't know if that amount is, I'm hoping that it is on top of what the PlayStation has to offer, rather than replacing what the PlayStation has to offer, because that will be shit if that's what's happening. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know that. But what I was going to say is I will help whoever wants with suggestions on what SSDs they could use or how to install it, because it's not like it's rocket science. I mean, the whole article makes it sound like it is unsurmountable, and it might be for casual people might not want to open their PlayStation 5 that you can't find anywhere anymore, and you don't want to run the risk of fucking up. But it's not rocket science. It's not super complicated, and I can and you guys can always reach out to me if you need help. And also, I want to say, like, there are companies already stating, "Oh yes, our NVMe solution is compatible with PlayStation 5." So you will have that guidance. I understand the Seagate FireCuda, the Seagate 530 FireCuda is PlayStation compatible. They already said it. So you don't have to learn. You don't have to know, oh my God, do I have to learn that it needs to be a Gen 4 NVMe, PCIe, NVMe? Like, you don't have to know any of that. All you need to do is just find the little sticker on the box that's going to say works with PlayStation 5.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my last piece.
All right. So I'm gonna slide this one in here as my last piece, and it's only because I am so thankful for this. After spending more than 5 years in development, the 6th entry to the Die Hard franchise is now officially dead. Yes. Producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura confirmed that McClane, a project conceived as both a prequel and a sequel in the action series, was abandoned following the Disney-Fox merger in 2019. Quote, "Yeah, no, it's not happening." What was really interesting was we actually came up with an idea to do it. It was a project that wasn't Die Hard that then eventually shifted over to Die Hard. End quote. McClane was set to feature Bruce Willis return to the role as John McClane, of course, with a structure that would have shifted between the modern timeline and the 1970s. A different actor would, of course, play the younger version of McClane, even though we know what the younger version of McClane looked like. Mind you, the first movie was still in the 80s. It wasn't that fucking far away from the 70s. With the story exploring the character's early days as a New York police officer. This is some of the best news for folks like myself who are
freaking man, bro,
cinephiles and movie buffs, and you know what? Just your regular action movie guy that just goes, yeah,
you know what? Just your regular Americans.
yeah. You know what? I would actually go on record in saying that had they continued their efforts to bring this atrocity to Hollywood, okay, in this form of McClane,
Wow.
that would have been the most un-American thing that could have been done. And
No, well, actually, I think it would have totally been American to do that. Unfortunately,
I'm going to
unfortunately,
not contradict my statement. Thank you.
I'm just saying, you know,
I mean,
and,
it's up as Americans you can get. Hey, we need to, ring this thing for every dollar it's worth.
exactly, yeah, exactly.
But, yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that it is. And the sad part is they didn't decide it. Disney and Fox did. The Disney Fox merger, something that even I was like, oh God, they're taking over the world.
Yeah.
That is what actually saved us from what would have been the atrocity that is McClane.
Hallelujah. I wonder who pulled out. They decided, like, nope, actually, you know what? No, we're not doing this. It
Honestly,
sounds too stupid.
exactly. Someone with their right, someone high up in the execs were like, all right, guys, I get
What are
it.
you guys
but
talking
at
about?
some point, you got to look at this and just say, this is dumb. And
This is
frankly,
dumb.
we're pulling the plug on this. So
Yes.
anyway, on that note, guys, that's the end of our new segment. Stay tuned. We will be back with our hot topic.
Hot topic. I want to have Dark on the podcast so bad.
Oh my
man.
God, dude.
so
So do I.
bad. Oh. Okay,
So
let's do
do
this
I.
shit. We're gonna do this shit. Let's do this shit because you're wasting my Dark Souls time.
You're wasting their film. Okay, we're recording, sir. All
right,
So
well.
we guys, believe it or not, are back.
There we go. All
and
right.
It is time for the hot topic of the week.
It's time to bring it home. Is what it's time for. Hot topic.
That too, sir. That too. So the hot topic again, guys, is what makes good game progression. And this is not going to be a list of games that we think have good progression. It really is more of a conversation as what is good game progression. And maybe we'll throw in some examples of what make that. I think we'll probably have plenty of examples that would make that. Or that would back up the claim as to what's good. Sir, I'm gonna throw it to you since it's actually your baby, and I think you kind of know where we want to go with this. So take lead, sir.
All right. So, what I mean by good game progression, we all know that progression is not necessarily a staple of every type of game that is out there, nor is it the goal of that we try to seek on a lot of games. Depending on the type of game that we want to play, we might just be going for I don't know, the highest score, or to solve a puzzle, although I would call that progress in some other way, but or some
Unless
people
the
might
puzzle
go
gets
into
in the way of progression, then
unless a puzzle
Yeah.
gets in the way of progression. But if it's just like Tetris, I guess you are progressing to Tetris. Oh, well, you're going for a high score. I mean, progression could be many things. The way that I want to define it in particular is that thing that keeps you engaged on a game to continue moving forward. And I get it. That could very well be reaching a higher score.
Mhm.
Breaking records or just breaking your own record, and that's completely fine. We're not here to say progression is this, progression is that, progression is grinding. We're not here to say any of that. This is gonna sound more like an opinion piece of art on our case, and what good progression is to us,
Mhm.
because from the experience, I can tell you that one of the most frustrating things is when you're playing the same content that you've already mastered.
Mm.
to the point where it starts getting stale. It starts getting boring. By the same token, it's also frustrating when you hit a wall, on a game where it's either becomes so difficult, so unsurmountable that you just get frustrated, and you stop playing. So I want to make it clear that when I speak about progression, I'm not saying I'm not equalizing it with what grinding is. I'll say that with progression, it kind of leads to learning new things and acquiring new skills as you play. Whereas grinding will be kind of like, for example, on a JRPG, you face a boss and it's too tough. You can always grind out the levels until you become more powerful. So even though
or an RPG, that would be JRPG, but yeah,
on an RPG, yeah. So even though you as a player, you're not necessarily learning anything new, you're still making progress through experience and leveling up. So it could be grinding can be a sort of progression, but to me that's not necessarily a good progression because I could get bored of grinding. Mm-hmm. Like it used to happen a lot when I used to play World of Warcraft. Back in the day, when it was very complicated to or hard to level up, from level to level, and I'll be stuck in an area just killing the same mobs over and over and over and over and over just to level up. Like I can say, yeah, I was playing, but was I having fun? Well, I wouldn't have been listening.
Either,
yeah, I was progressing. I was making my character stronger, but
no, but you weren't progressing in the story.
Well, not even. I was making myself stronger so that I could go to the next piece of story. So, but in the meantime, I'm not getting any engagement out of it. I'm just killing the same things over and over. So I'm grinding. So I personally don't feel that grinding is good progression. I feel good progression comes with when you can maintain your level of growth on your video game character, and your engagement with the story, with the action, with what's happening on the game at the same level of interest. Once you have to grind just for the sake of becoming stronger, I mean, if that's what you like, that's perfect. That's fine. But I'm talking about, in my case, if I have to grind for something, just blindly, just and I'm not progressing in the story, I'm just killing the same mobs over and over and over, then that's boring. That is not necessarily great progression.
So I want to throw in an example of what I think would be grinding, but a good progression from grinding, and that would be like Monster Hunter World, where sure there's a story behind it, but once you finish the story, there's a lot of after content, and it's all I think at that point about the different armor sets and the different weapons and stuff like that you can craft. I think crafting becomes the ends where grinding is the mean to that end, and so it's progression through grinding because you're still going back out to hunt the same monsters, but because the ends are the new armor sets that you need to essentially kill these monsters for, it becomes a justifiable reason for a good progression through grinding, I think.
Yes.
So it's a rare thing for sure. I think that's
actually kind of I'm glad you brought it. I'm glad you brought that up because that is actually a very good example. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be, and and I have to say rare, not rare, but it's one of those one-off examples where grind really is a progression tool, because what you're trying to progress is the new armor set you're trying to get, and there's no story behind that. That's just at that point, because especially if you're playing multiplayer online, it's really for for showing off. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Just for bragging rights, the fact that you did that. Monster Hunter is it's a very good example of the fact that not that progression can't really be defined one way or another. There are some people that will find that progression to be that's the game. That is what the game is about. And you don't play Monster Hunter for the story. You play it. I mean,
hunts. Yeah,
you play for the hunts, exactly, and exactly. That's
And
I
the
feel like that
community,
game's
I think,
defined
also,
by
yeah.
that, and the community. Yeah. So playing co-op and taking this monsters down, that feels very epic. Some people might be turned off by the fact that this game doesn't really have a story. I mean, it has like a backdrop, something, but it is it's not. Let's be real. It's not the finest story, and
no.
or anything that will keep you like engaged. Like I need to know what happens on this chapter or something like that.
Yeah, it's just filling in gaps as to why you're even doing what you're doing. Yeah,
but it is considered, and I will consider also a good source of progression, because a good progression, because when I want to play a game that is dedicated towards that, and I am having fun with that, then and also the game is that basically, and that's cool. I'm down with that. Another thing is, I can't say, even though a game like The Division 2, a game that basically has no story. The story is the most backdrop bullshit that you can put in. It's basically an excuse to do all the murdering that you're doing all around. It is completely forgettable. It is skippable. It's the first time that I have not cared about a story. It's bad, but
wow.
And honestly, I'm sorry. And it's one of my favorite games, mind
It
you.
is.
So that should tell you, and it's a game where I have taken to play the progression being, let's make my character look cool, and let's play with my buddies, and let's have and just go through content over and over and over. Like when we used to do the 100, the I forgot what it was called, but it's the skyscraper that is 100 floors.
Oh yeah.
And that, I mean, nothing gets more repetitive than that, because you're still battling the same kind of enemies, and even at some point they start repeating, and yeah. But I still had a good time with it. I still have my fun, and I still had a character that was better than before I played. That before. So good. That feeling of progress of a game having good progression, it's definitely going to be preferential, and depending on the game. There is a particular one that I could tell you has been touted for having one of the best progression systems. I did not enjoy it. That's not fair. I'd enjoyed it until
a certain point
where I just could not get enjoyment, more enjoyment out of it. Because I felt like I was hitting a wall that yes, if I would have pushed a little bit more, I'm sure that I could have actually gone past it. But I just didn't have it in me to continue, because it stopped being fun. And that game is the recently released Returnal. I reinstalled Returnal because I'm sure at some point I want to go back. It's just, I know that point is not anywhere near right now. But I want to read something that I read that made me think of that game immediately the moment that I read it, and that is, there's a positive aspect. There's a positive aspect of this. They're talking about progression.
Okay.
And that is when the player masters a game and has seen everything there is and moves on. mastering the game usually leaves the player content at the fact that they have seen everything they wanted to see, and they can go on to another game without having to lose and having any loose threads left. That was your experience, Mad Dog. You actually played that game to completion until you're satisfied, and you were cool with that. You felt like it was a complete experience.
Yeah, I mean,
how-
go ahead. I'll let you finish.
However, when the game itself puts up a wall, forcing players to feel frustrated and stop playing, that's when the player leaves with a negative experience. That was my my experience, and I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming Returnal for being bad or anything like that, because it's not. That game is fucking excellent. I'm saying that the moment I started feeling like I was not making any progress, I was just wasting a couple of hours of my time and not really gaining anything. Although it's really a perception, right? Because on that game, on the back end, of the background, you're still gaining some, slum levels or whatever it is that you get on the levels, background. Yeah. But the perception that you have not gone forward on it in any way, that you haven't gotten anything cool, anything permanent, is that you just wasted a couple of hours. That leaves a negative experience, especially when you have limited gaming time in our adult lives.
Yeah.
So, but
that
I
is
saw
definitely
this.
a grinder, though. I would definitely categorize Returnal as a grinder, because that's what you're doing. You just don't know you're doing it, right? Because you feel like you lose everything when you die, but technically you've grinded a few levels on your weapons experience, right? It's almost like the weapons are getting experience, but not you.
Are they making you stronger though? Because
the weapons are getting stronger. Yes, the pistols I was starting with, by the time I was towards the end of the game, they were way higher than anything that you can start early game. They were coming with additional stuff. The Hollow Seeker was coming up with so many different options. It was like, man, this Hollow Seeker would have destroyed the crimson sands, or whatever the second biome is. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. It's just like the Hollow Seekers are now not coming with anything less than this. Every Hollow Seeker or every pistol, even my starting one, like when I die and come back, my starting pistol has 2 or 3 different little additions that I didn't even know were there. I didn't even know it was unlocking. You know what I mean? So I think perception is a very big aspect of it. And I think that's a very important thing to bring up. It's like, if you're not even knowing that it's happening, then how do you know you're progressing? You just feel like you're constantly falling backwards. So I can definitely understand that. And I think that the game, if I were to fault the game, I would just say you hid this into a certain spot where so many people were like, oh my God, I'm not getting anything better. And the reality is, yes, you were, even if you just didn't know it. That was the problem. The problem was it wasn't presented to you in a way you can see and accept. And that's the game's fault. You know what I'm saying? In the end, that's the game's fault. I discovered it or stumbled upon it at one point when I started looking at what is this bar here that's going up, and then I started looking it up, and it's just like, oh shit. It's like your weapons are the ones that are gaining experience, not you. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole deal. That's literally the whole deal. And that's experience that does not wipe away when you die. It's still there. It's not attached to you. So if you went through this 3 runs with the carbon rifle, and you start this 4th run with I don't know, some other fucking weapon, well, all those levels you grinded into that weapon are not coming with you on this particular run. So you just don't know that that's not there. So it's a very complicated thing. I commend them for it is a very grindy thing. The reality is that's what this is. So this is a perfect example of, to me, and I can agree with that, of game progression that is not completely friendly, and but it's by design. And so
it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad, because people get what they wanted from the game. And hell, even at the point that I left the game, I left satisfied with, like, hey, while I was playing this game, I was having a good time, so it's not super friendly. You're absolutely right.
And it's the game's fault. I mean, hands down, that is a flaw in the sense that, again, had I not known that was going on, I would be just as frustrated as you.
Yeah.
But I randomly discovered it because I happened to just look at the menu going, what I need to, because the game doesn't explain stuff. So I said, let me just go look and see what this menu's telling me. And I'm like, and that's when I stumbled upon that bar, and it's just like, man, if this was something the game told you, maybe so many more people would be into it. So it is a fault of the game. So there's no denying. I'm not saying that the game is bad, but that's a huge miscue. Yeah.
Or you know what I think it could also be is because just like we can't really define the ideal progression because everybody's gonna take something different from it. Let's say, for example, the progression in that the developers expected from Returnal for the players to appreciate is your own progression as a player. You getting better, things getting easier, and you progressing further because you're not
skill.
having. Yeah, exactly. You're earning skill, and that will heavily be tied into how much you want to continue learning the game and playing the game, a game that might not give you numbers to go up, or at least don't present them to you in the face, like another game, for example, say like a lot of roguelikes. In the case of roguelikes, the reason I don't play them is because even though, well, actually, not even roguelikes. I would say rogue games in general. Yeah. I don't go into a lot of roguelikes either, but rogue games, you lose everything. There's no your progression is finite to the run that you're having, and if you mess up on that run, that's it. You have to start from scratch, and there is literally the real progression comes into what you learn as a player. A lot of people are into that, and that's why you see a lot of people playing Spelunky. Games like Spelunky, for example, that are famous. The people like those type of games, and I don't enjoy those type of games because I don't have time to grind and to get good at one game when I have so many other games that I want to experience. Therefore, I want a progression. If I can put it in simple terms, I want a progression that I can save on a game, on a save file. And then when I'm ready to play it again, I can load it and pick it up from there. The problem with the skill level progression, the player skill level progression, is that could start eroding as time passes by. So you have to make a commitment into continuing playing the game solely, without getting into other games, and that's not my game style. That's not the way I play games. So
out of curiosity, to kind of jump on that particular note, how do you? And I'm sure, I feel like you're eventually coming around to this. So if I'm jumping ahead, by all means,
no, that's fine.
Anchor me somewhere. But how do you feel about the progression within the Dark Souls franchise? And we don't need to spend a lot of time on it because I know that we've been talking a lot about it anyway. But
but this is integral. This is the whole inspiration over this topic is the fact by playing Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls, that is a game that is very very skill based, right? It's basically what invented get good, and that we so much love when people throw at it, like that, like that's the answer to everything. But I can tell you that with Dark Souls, I really appreciate the fact that game, I feel, is one that found a balance between player skill and character progression. Like I feel that game nails it in that balance department. Like it's maintaining this perfect balance where it's like it's not trying to be unfairly hard, but it's gonna be fucking hard. But it's not. It's not unfair.
True, but it does require a certain skill set.
Yes,
And
it does.
The reality is a lot of folks may not have that available to them. That doesn't mean they can't develop it. It really comes down to their personal take on that. Like,
yeah, there are people that are not going to play
to
it.
develop it. Yeah,
right. Right. So you asked me how I feel about it, and I will say I think Dark Souls is a perfect example of a game that has achieved an ideal balance between player skill and character progression. Because if at some point, like I am constantly getting my character improved because I'm constantly facing enemies wherever I go. Those enemies require that I am completely engaged. There's no fodder enemies, although yeah, sure, whenever you get later on, you could probably make an argument of, oh well, if you go back to fucking Firelink, you're gonna one shot everything. Yeah, sure. and yeah, that's right. But let your guard down on Firelink Shrine, and tell me if a couple of them are not gonna. Yeah. So you always have to have some sort of in the level of engagement with them. So you're constantly on your toes on that. And if an enemy gets too difficult, you can say, well, you can take a step back and continue through other areas. It doesn't feel, even though you are grinding, but it doesn't become disengaged.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't become disengaged where it's like, well, now I'm again in World of Warcraft just killing these wolves just to gain levels, and I'm not learning any new skills.
Yeah,
as I'm doing. Yeah. That is what I love about games like Dark Souls. And I mean, it hasn't happened just yet. Dark Souls is not a game that I will say I could probably hit a wall where I'm like, I'll be like, okay, I think I'm done with it. I think I've gotten my feet a feel. Every game has a finite level. I have a finite level of patience for every game,
or for anything. Yeah.
For anything, exactly. But right now, I can tell you, I started playing 3. I loved it so much that I was like, no, let me get back to 1 because I want to have that experience, like you did. And I don't feel myself in any way like I just want to, stop the controller. Yes, I have stopped playing at some points. I get killed. I'm like, that's it. I'm not playing anymore, but I probably put already a couple of hours on it. So I don't feel bad. And it always feels like I have gone a little bit further. The worst that could happen on that game is that you have a bunch of souls, out there with you, which is a risk of and reward system that the game has, which I can appreciate. And then you get killed twice and you lose them.
The best part of that is the moment there is a, and again, I feel like we're probably staying too long on this particular game, but there is a certain moment where you're not getting careless, you're getting bold. Like there's a thin line between careless and bold,
right? And
you cross that threshold, and now you're not being careless. You're just bold. Like, you know what? No, I think I can. I can progress further. I'm not afraid of doing this. I still have 5x Estus. I still have my what I forgot what they're called in the first one, but the third one's called Embers. I still have my Embers, so if I need that, I can do that. I can, what I'm saying? You've passed the point of this game is too much for me and you're now in the middle portion where you're like, I can manage this game. I get it now, and I can, and once you pass that, you're in a new level, and that type of game really like just develops that particular mindset. It's I agree that the progression there, I get it though, because in the end, there's still some skill that's required, right? There's still hand-eye coordination that's required, and I get that. There's
you're developing that.
Yeah, but there's probably folks who are never going to be able to develop that. It's just, it is what it is. That is, I personally don't think that makes it elitist. It's just it's the game that they decided to design, and so anyway, I don't want to get into that topic, but I'm just saying that there are folks who are not going to be able to develop that. Be that by a handicap, be that just by not being able to develop hand-eye coordination. I can hand this controller
because
to
they
my
don't fucking
wife.
want to.
Yeah, well, not want to. Yeah, I can hand this.
It could be a
controller
choice. They could be badasses at fighting games, and they just
Correct.
don't want
And
to
you
play.
just can't fucking get this. Yeah, you just can't grasp what I need to do here. You know what I mean? So no, I 100%.
They'll find this too
agree.
boring or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it may not feel. That's another thing. It may not feel like progression to them. It may feel like, well, I'm just trying to get to this guy. I keep getting this guy, get my ass at it. How's this fun? It's the reason why Demon Souls itself was not brought over to America by Sony. It was brought over by another company. I think it was Bandai Namco at that point.
Bandai, yeah.
And so they're the ones who brought it over because Sony published it in Japan, and Shuhei Yoshida famously said he played the game for a few hours and never got past the first area. You know what I mean? He's just like, I was like, I don't know who would play this. You know,
You're like, fuck this.
Yeah. So
American players are not
they're not gonna fucking want this. Yeah, exactly. And lo and behold, it was the American market that blew this shit up. You know what I mean? Because they had very soft sales. Demon Souls, for the record, guys, the first Demon Souls had very soft sales in Japan.
I bought that game actually. Yeah, I played that game. That game was hard as balls.
Yeah, sure is. So, but no, I get it. So some people would look at that and go, "That's not progression to them." So, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing when it really comes down to a person's perspective, and that perspective can change, which is even more fascinating when you think about it. It's like, well, I thought of this as being whatever, but now, no, now this is all I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, you nailed it your first example. Nailed it. It doesn't have to be about progressing in a story. With Monster Hunter, you don't do that. You know what other game has fantastic progression that it keeps you engaged? And I mean, in my opinion, and it got. Yeah, no, that's how it has fantastic progression. Death Stranding. Death Stranding. It's a game where you are. I mean, the task that you're doing. The task that you're doing is menial as fuck. You're delivering boxes. You're delivering stuff. You're thinking a Hideo Kojima game. You're thinking Metal Gear. You're thinking all the stuff that is happening. You know, but no, it is menial as hell. You're the delivery boy, and it's all put in this like incredible world where you want to know the story because you have no choice. It's so ridiculous that you're like, I need to know where this is headed. This is a Kojima game, for crying out loud. I need to peek into his mind to see. And oh my god, you know, the way that the places where that game goes and the thing that it does is like insane and not necessarily in the best way possible. I'm saying it. I'm not saying it as a compliment.
I agree.
But it does keep you engaged. It did keep me engaged, and a lot of people in the way that I wanted to progress. And it felt like I was getting new gear and new stuff constantly throughout the story, throughout the gameplay elements that it was presenting me. That open up more possibilities and more ways of getting to my goal, which my goal in this case was finishing the game. I didn't want to grind, or I didn't want to farm anything.
I really at some point was I was done with the side missions. I was like, no.
Yeah, I wasn't booking it. I wasn't booking it necessarily, but I also wasn't doing like every side mission or anything like. Because it's not necessary. You can call anything progression now. The hell, fucking cookie clickers can be called progression just because the numbers are going up, but it's that good progression. I mean, some argue for it.
You did.
No, and
you were all about it when you showed me on your phone. I was like, what are you doing exactly?
Listen, I might have actually been like I wouldn't even say interested. I was bamboozled by the numbers going up. I will never call Cookie Clickers to be great engaging experiences because they're fucking not. They're ridiculous. But hey, some people found it that was the case. Here's the thing that I want that I want people to understand is that momentum is important on this on progression. You know, you don't want to play if you feel that you ended up in a worse state for playing the game than you were without playing. And unfortunately, there are some games that want to be so hardcore that's the position when they put you in. Right now, the only example I can think of, and I don't know if this might have changed, but I remember in Final Fantasy 11, the MMO, yes, on the MMO, you could literally level down on that game if you died too many times. You know what that feels like? Well, I don't know if you played a game where it does that. So you probably don't, but that is soul crushing.
I was gonna say I have never played a game like that, but I mean, just the concept alone is like,
I don't understand why this concept
I did all this
exists.
And it's being taken away now.
Just because I had a bad night, suddenly you could be left with negative resources, negative money, negative experience. In other words, I was better off not playing.
All that grinding, yeah.
That is not that's not good. That is I would call that bad progression. That is anti-progression, if
I agree.
anything.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah,
unless you
never want to lose progress. I mean, at that point, you might as well have a corrupted file. Who wants a fucking corrupted file at that point?
Yeah. I mean, unless you are the type that get off on the idea of the risk. And, at that point, you're probably onto some other craziness also that is not worth discussing here, but we don't judge. whatever are your kinks are, I'm not here to judge. But it's masochistic. And I don't want to play games where there is a possibility that I might end up in a worse state that if I have not touched it, because at that point I'm just gonna decide to not touch it and not play it. What's the point? What will be the point of that at that point? Right?
Mid game I can definitely understand. However, there is a specific game that you love like a lot that did this, and at this point you may never know if there was a new game plus that could have improve your experience, because you gave away all your progression right at the very end. And you don't know what I'm talking about. Nier Automata, sir.
In Nier Automata,
all your progression was given away.
I gifted my progression away. Well, that's different because at that point I knew that
there could have been a new game plus where you could have used that progression.
No, I lost the chance to play the DLC, which was fine because it was not like it was like super.
And there you go. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, so
that's right. That's an example. But it was my choice, though.
It was your choice.
It was my choice.
True. It was your choice. That is the main difference. This was presented to you. Hey, do you want to do this? Whatever. True.
You have the chance not to.
Yeah, very true.
I felt compelled to do so.
An interesting dichotomy to it.
Yeah. So also, I didn't remember that I had DLC to play, and I didn't think that the game was going to be so bold that it was not going to let me play the DLC, and yet it was. Wow. So yeah, you're right.
No, and obviously we're talking about a very one-off situation, but it's just funny as you're saying. I'm just going. I kind of remember a time where he just gave everything up. For some random person he doesn't even know.
You know what? I like to think that because of that sacrifice, some other gamer out there was able to beat the credits also because my little character helped out. I like to think that that he got or she got the my words of encouragement, which I don't remember what I put there, but it was I was trying to go for the encouraging one. Yeah. Real quick, I wanted to also mention that some companies also like to mess up with progression on purpose, and this tends to happen a lot with free-to-play games. But we have seen examples. Examples of it happening with full retail games, and that's extremely not cool. And I'm talking about games that will make it very difficult to progress for. Like, they don't make it impossible just so that you can't say, oh, it can't be done, but they make it ridiculous, unreasonable, for the sake of selling you the coin doubler, the experience doubler, the weapon that will help you beat this. You know, the win. They sell you they want to, they institute a paywall so that if you want to progress, you feel compelled or at the very least tempted to spend money on shit. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I like that game, but I will never recommend it in the sense that the progression on that game was bullshit because of how ridiculous he felt to
That was a grind. Yeah.
That was a grind in the sense, and to be fair, everything you were doing had a story. That game was huge. First of all, that game was enormous. So even in the sense that I was progressing very slow, I was always doing a piece of a story. Problem is, it was more often than not, it was just side quests that I'm fighting the same way that I've always fought. You know, I might get a new weapon, sure, yes, you know, that's, I'll give him that. But that's not the thing. That my complaint is that you could tell that the experience leveling was hampered, was messed up, just for the sake of getting you to pay for the what I call the experience normalizer.
Yeah.
And I'll be
making shit normal.
Let me sell you the fix. You know. Let me get you sick.
No. Let me create the problem so then I can sell you the fix.
Exactly. Another game that did that, it was so blatant that they ended up patching it like later on when the game was not starting not to sell anymore. Shadow of Mordor 2.
Oh yeah.
Shadow of Mordor 2 was another game that especially those last levels, they were on purpose. They were ridiculous. That the difficulty spike was very difficult. You know, I don't want to say it was unsurmountable, but it was very difficult just for the sake of selling you the way to make it easier. And it was so blatant and so obvious that, of course, it sparked a lot of people, you know, complain about it, and they later on down the line, WB decided to release a patch that fixed that shit. But by that time, like, the deal was done, and they probably collected all the money that they were gonna collect from microtransactions, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Anytime that someone walks away feeling like they just wasted time,
it's the worst.
It's it's the worst. If you feel like time would have been better spent not playing your game, then you have a serious problem with progression.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree 100%.
That's my take.
Some quick takes that I wanted to throw out here. So me personally, when I think of a game that had really good progression, that was an epic, meaning it took tens to maybe hundreds of hours. I always go back to Witcher 3. The
Wow, Witcher
progression of
3
that
was
game
great.
never felt like I was grinding, and yet my
Mhm.
character, my Geralt, was consistently moving up, adding
Mhm.
stuff, selling
Yeah.
stuff.
Getting
It
stronger.
never,
Yeah.
it never felt like it never ever felt like I had to grind for anything.
Yeah.
And if you felt like you did, what your grind was a hunt or a side mission or something that had its own entire story where, again, you were completely engaged because it was something completely different that you were doing before. They had different characters. They had its own story arc. Or sometimes it was just a hunt. Sometimes the hunt alone was great. You go to where the monster attacked, investigate the area, figure out what it is, go to your bestiary, go, okay, this is what I need. Go create what you need to take it out, and then go hunt it. Too, that
Yeah.
alone sometimes was like, this is great.
That was it. That was
You know? Yeah.
That's my story. Yeah, that's the story that I want to
That's the story.
play.
Exactly. So yeah, I will always. It's a shame that CD Projekt Red has hit the shit floor with
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 2077, but
Mm.
they really did, and no one can take that away from them in the sense that they really did have and create something ridiculously special. And one of the biggest parts of that game that makes it amazing is that progression. Is that you don't ever feel like you're grinding. You're always moving towards your next
goal, your next target.
goal.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree.
All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of another awesome episode. This one, the episode. Did I say the number? 270?
270 something. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll find out which one it is. I'll find out which one it is.
270 something.
Actually, I might just name it 270 something and call it.
That would be good because since that's basically what I've said the entire episode. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. As always, please go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation. We'll start a little too many of these pineapple IPAs. I'm just saying. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, again, please go. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off this week saying, praise the sun. Mr. Santos. Take us home.
I just want to give a big fuck you to a couple companies that have made news. And of course, one of them is Activision. But no, I'm not talking about that in particular. I'm talking about this ridiculousness that is happening in the game, in games in general, that I'm just over it. I'm just like, so one of them was the fact that the developers of Superhot decided that to remove, to censor a particular portion of the game because, and they always call it because of New World sensitivities, or that's not the actual title, what they call it, but they call it to, because of sensibility. Because on the fucking game where you're shooting people, when you're shooting, when you're basically gunning down like a maniac, there was a portion where, in order to progress through to the next level, you have to take the gun and point it at your head and pull the trigger. On a video game, you have no real gun, mind you. All right, on a video game, and they thought that was, too extreme. Always someone trying to justify the super mega wokeness ridiculousness, and trying to bring some social bullshit into and censoring in games. That whole point of the game is killing people. Killing your character. However, that's bad. And then there was another thing. I want to say this was Blizzard. It was in World of Warcraft, and I forgot what it was right now, and I'm gonna be very upset for not remembering. It was like they removed the spit so one of the many emotes that you could do is basically spit. They fucking removed that. Removed that. Yeah, that was was bad. From World of Warcraft. Which again, I mean, it sounds like super complaints, but I don't like games censored for ridiculous reasons. I don't like any censorship. I don't want, I don't want a pixel be taken out of a game that was not meant to have, to have that pixel removed. And you might say, well, they're the developers. They can do whatever they fucking want. Well, you already released the game on that state. I would understand if there was a fucking rape scene that, probably that wouldn't have been out on a T-rated game, for example, that was not meant to be there. It's a T-rated game, you could say, also rape bad. Okay, so I can understand that, but a fucking spit, like, really, dude?
The spit is stupid. For the record, spit,
yes. The self harm also. The self harm it's done because, first of all, you're not self harming yourself. You're playing a video game, A, and B, it's a slippery slope. Like at some point, what are they going to? Are they going to censor killing in video games? Because let's face it, that's all you do in video games. Not all of them, but you know what I mean. It's like at that point, it's offensive that it gets to that level where you're just trying to do it just to get the good press, and not necessarily because you believe in anything in particular. And then they're like, and it was. And we apologize for how long it took us. Motherfucker, if you were sincere about this, you wouldn't have created a game that you created about basically a psychopath, murdering people. Which, by the way, they don't look like people. They're not realistic looking. They are red blobs, basically that you're shooting at that explode like crystals. so so are you. So I don't know.
So so for definitely the spitting thing is ridiculous. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And this is not in any way to try to extend the episode or anything like that. I'm gonna just say it real quick. I have to be the voice of the opposition because that's just how the show's gonna go. But that said,
it's a topical podcast.
Correct. If the purpose of their change was to be on the to get some hype or a story or hey, our sales are down, we need to talk about the game and blah blah blah, then yes, this is a stupid reason. However, when it comes to suicide, I kind of get it. We don't know because obviously they don't need to talk about it, but we don't know if any one of their developers experience a family member or someone who has committed that, and suddenly that does paint your situation a little differently. You know what I mean? So is that enough to change the game? That's debatable, of course. The game was already out. It's been out for forever. What difference does it make now? But I can understand to an extent where it's like, well, things have changed a little bit for the developers. Now, that only applies, obviously, if that's the case. If it's because we need more sales and because our game hasn't been talked about in this long, and hey, maybe this will talk it up and give us a nice little boost, then that's bullshit. Fuck you all. But outside of that, there is that particular thing, and I think we've discussed even last week that suicide is a suicide.
It's terrible. It's bad. It's terrible. You know what else so bad? Fucking killing people.
The truth.
Should we ban that too?
If you're
should we not have that in video games also? Because that's what game.
if
lead
you're
to?
already shooting people, then
That's my
and the
point.
reality is, let's be real, suicide is still murder. It's just murder of yourself.
You're
So
you're
it's still the same thing.
murdering.
So
It's still
I can
yeah.
definitely get on board with it. But again,
That's
we
yeah.
don't know what the what was going on, and chances are there wasn't anything going on. Again, this game was just not being. We're
That
looking
would have been
for a spike.
reported.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
have,
yeah.
and they
Correct.
would
That
have
would have
actually
been
mentioned
something
it probably
exactly.
as a reason, something like that. And
Exactly.
yeah,
I agree.
it feels like it honestly feels like just pandering for the sake of getting publicity, and that as many companies and have been doing lately with different
Correct, because they use
social
they use the
issues.
they use the waves in their favor, or the winds
Mhm.
in their
Yes,
favor. So no, I got
exactly.
you. I 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we'll see you next week.
GG! We almost had a topic there.